Welcome to Season 20, Week 12's edition of This Week in the SFL. Along with Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. And Paul, I think Upset City is officially here. What a Week 12. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, Cam, and what a week of football we just had. Bunch of upsets, bunch of things happening that nobody expected to happen, and we're here on Impact Monday to wrap it all up for everyone.
I think the survivor pool had 16 survivors before the week. They now have 7 after
falling down.
The favorites were savaged at the top of the standings. We'll get to more and more of that and all of your highlights. Ashley Jackson is back this week after a week off, so we're excited about that. Mike O'Neill now recuperating. Tyler Falk and Chris Curtis have halftime and post on Impact Monday. Atlanta and Indianapolis coming up a little later. But first, we get to the headlines as we do every week, and we start with the Carolina Skyhawks flying high. Carolina hands Baltimore one of its worst losses ever. Strengthens their playoff hopes, and we'll get to their playoff hopes at the end of the show. Houston's collecting trophies once again. 5th straight victory. They now have to wait for chaos next week. They, along with Alamo City, their Week 14 opponent, are on bye. And of Ice Wars to remember, late block punt by the stat man. Roscoe Santagria turns the tables on Vegas. Free falling, Paul, after a 7-1 start. Where do you want to start?
As far as where I want to start, I want to look into that Carolina-Baltimore game, Cam. What a game that was.
The Carolina Skyhawks, they seem to be down in the dumps, Paul. They had just lost to San Diego, kind of blew an opportunity to pick up a quality win in the middle of the standings and failed to do so. They came in 17.5-point underdogs against the 3-time defending champs and unquestioned best team in the SFL right now, the Baltimore Vultures, until they had to play the game. Early on, the writing was on the wall, Paul, as Warren Murray fumbles from behind. Look at the football. Somehow Baltimore able to recover. And you're thinking, if you're a Vulture fan, whoo, that was I'm not sweating. You're sweating. We're fine. We're okay. So Baltimore retains possession. They keep the football. Later in that drive, well, that's not good. A blocked field goal. Carolina is frisky early on against their rivals, the Baltimore Vultures, and we're still scoreless. In the red zone, Matt South, chance to put points on the board. And Ben Stackenpaper, who we have seen on this show about 15 times in the last month, Paul, makes the play. It's the turnover, so we're still scoreless 4 minutes into the ball game. Baltimore's next possession, Jack Wigmore throws an interception. Harish Prasad with the pick just before his wedding, making things happen. We're still scoreless. All right, let's get to some offense now. Matt South down for up 3-0, hits Harish Prasad, and Carolina scores 10-zip. Baltimore in a bit of trouble. Not worrying too much yet until Ike McBride started moving. Gets into the end zone, makes it 17-7 in the second quarter. Harish Prasad, $4 super chat. Damn right, we're getting frisky. Halfway through the second, Wigmore with Murray to his right will fire it not to Murray, but instead right at the last second. Lincoln Kingseed picks the ball off. A rare mistaken judgment there from Jack Wigmore. Carolina gets the ball back now, 20-7, just before the half. Ike McBride, it was a coming out party for her, Paul.
Absolutely. Ike McBride had an absolutely monster game against Baltimore, and as we saw in that play, sprinting past defenders, and I hope we see it later, trucking defenders over. Just a great game for Ike McBride all around.
Just before the end of the half, Ike McBride bulling over people. Tackle by Bolt at the 6-yard line, trying to finish what she started. It'll be Hattori Hanzo, as Andy Hamilton said on the broadcast. Yeah! As he gets in, there it is, gets into the end zone. 27-7. Okay, third quarter, second half's going to be different, right? Jack Wigmore deep. Oh, it's picked again. Monte Wyatt with the interception. That's no good. Carolina takes would eventually take a 30-7 lead, but not before Ike McBride does some more of that. Running over Elijah Warfield 30-7 now. Last chance for Baltimore. Wigmore. Nope, that's not going to work either. Tristan Hatley with the pick, and Ashley Jackson caught up with Harish Prasad after the game.
And I am featuring a good friend of mine, Mr. Harish Prasad. He is co-owner as well as wide receiver for the Carolina Skyhawks that are coming off a fantastic win over the Baltimore Vultures. Tell me how you feel right
Pretty damn good. That was I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I felt pretty good about the game plan, but I think it was gonna go like that.
I mean, the thing is with you guys, it's and I think a lot of people would agree that it's difficult to plan for you guys because you don't know which Carolina is going to show up. And I think you guys kind of have that to your advantage because you don't know what to really prepare for. Tonight, it seemed like to be a fantastic defensive battle on your part. I mean, I believe it was it 6 or 7 interceptions?
Yeah, I think it was, last I thought it was 6, but somebody said 7 turnovers, but I don't know if that's right or not. There were a couple of times I had to step away, so I don't know if there was something I missed or not.
Okay, so defensively, did you scout maybe other teams that have beaten Baltimore in the past, or did you actually come up with this on your own?
No, I didn't. If you're asking if I stole someone's game plan, that's not what I did. It's very similar to what I ran last week. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well,
I'll say because we had the couple of week stretch where versus Arizona and versus Las Vegas where our defense got whooped up on. So I made some changes versus San Diego and they seemed to work. So I kind of kept into that general direction.
well, that's what smart coaches do, you adjust. So in this game against Baltimore, what was your favorite part? I mean, besides winning, of course, like, was there particular plays that you saw that you put in your playbook and it just went a whole hell of a lot better than you expected?
It was not necessarily what we had in there that was working. It was when with the offense, it was fine-tuning really what we had from last week, which last week our offense didn't look great, but it was fine-tuning what we had because we know what we have works, but it's just getting the AI to actually call those plays and getting Ike actually in plays where she's very efficient, and she had a really good game tonight, and she was a big reason why we won, other than our secondary absolutely eating tonight. But it was probably one of the most complete games of football we've had in a very long time.
Yeah, I love to see it, man. I told Skippy the last time we talked that you guys are like like a brother-sister team to us. So when you guys win, well, we kind of celebrate that. So congratulations on your win, Harish. I wish y'all the best of luck for the rest of the season, and I can't wait to see how you guys are going to play for the rest of the way.
Yeah, we've got now we're sitting at 5-5. We've got 2 pretty big games coming up, so our strength of victory is there. So if we can win these last 2 games, I think we've got a pretty good chance at making the playoffs, and that's where we want to be.
Indeed. And I hope to see you there. I really do.
It'd be great to make it there. And before we end this, I did want to say to Back Chima, I just wanted to say thanks for coming. Good night and drive home safely.
Loud and clear. I'm sure he read that.
Hopefully.
Thanks, Harish.
Thank you. Take care.
Too. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Ooh. Mac Chima talks a good game, and he usually can back up that talk. Not this week, and Harish heard enough of that, apparently. $2 super chat from Jack Wall. Coaching change in Baltimore incoming. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, after 2 losses on the season. Ooh, man.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I doubt it. I think that it's just going to make them more upset for anybody who has to play them next, and that is unfortunately Las Vegas. We'll get to more of them in a minute. But Paul, that was a big upset. Congratulations to Carolina. That probably was the only upset of the week, right? Right?
I don't know about that, Cam. I think there might be a couple more. And
How about
this next one?
how about another top 4 team that was in trouble? Third play of the game, Seattle at Tulsa, and Zach Patton. I still don't know how he got that wide open. Now, this is nothing new for Seattle. They always score touchdowns on their opening drive. It's finishing games that have been more of the problem, but Zach Patton gets in the end zone. Seattle's up 7-0. Trellis Blanton, oh, well, that's kind of what I was just talking about. Lee Palmer with the pick, and got to finish these games off. Douglas Brown on the sideline, pushing grown men into the end zone. Tulsa would tie it up late in the first quarter. Crowd at Lucy Red Stadium loving that. Tulsa 7-2, have a golden opportunity to take advantage of Baltimore losing, and Douglas Brown trying to do just that in the second quarter. Breaks away, shoestring tackle made at the 12. Tulsa's in good shape. A few plays later, DJ Hume, bottom of the screen. Check out that matchup. Hume gets bumped, runs it out, stays in bounds, caught, touchdown. 14-10 Tulsa. They're back in front, and all is right with the Sim world. 17-10. And just before the half, Doug Day, one-hand stab with the speed. He's going, gone. Tie game just before the end of the half, and that was the momentum switch. Third quarter, 20 seconds in. JQ picked off by David Horrell. This Seattle defense got mean, and they got mean quick, Paul. Horrell with his first pick of the game, and it's the truth. Seattle has the lead in the second half, 24-17. Paulie Truth with the touchdown. Next possession.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, nice guy. Next possession for Tulsa. In fact, their first play of the drive. Oh, don't throw it that way. Oh, you got to be kidding me, Ethan Kai. Pick 6. Seattle's up 31-17, and that's how they win it, Paul. 31-20. They clamped down on Tulsa late. Your reaction to Seattle getting a huge win after a losing streak that is now snapped.
Oh, it's a great feeling to get a win against an incredibly tough team, and the season that Tulsa's had this season is extremely impressive. So to be able to go into their home stadium and come out with a victory, the vibes couldn't be any higher in Seattle, and we're excited to see what is on the horizon for us as a team.
So Atlanta's yet to play this week. Arizona was off this week, so we go to the number 5 team in the standings coming into the week, the Las Vegas Fury. Surely they weren't going to lose at home to the 2-7 Denver Nightwings in Vice Wars, right? Right? Well, early on, it certainly looked that way. Doug Britton wide open for the touchdown from Eric Price, playing his former team, mind you, for the first time. 7-0 Vegas out in front. Next possession for Denver. And Gene Struthers throws it into traffic, and Justin Reside, for the third time in 7 career pick sixes, he's got another touchdown, Paul.
And Justin Reside having a phenomenal season for Las Vegas, as we saw for the third time. A touchdown returned, or an interception returned for a touchdown. That's just a great play from a great player.
14-0, and look at Silver State. It is jacked up. Denver would counter with Bailey O'Shaughnessy. Boy, was it nice to see him get going again after a tough last month. Denver on the board.
Yeah, Bailey O'Shaughnessy had an incredible start to his season, but as you mentioned, the last month kind of fallen off as Denver has as well, but incredible play there and a great job for him to get going.
Just before the half, Jeremy Mosley from the half-yard line scores, and we're tied at 14 entering the third quarter. And now Denver has all the momentum. Bailey O'Shaughnessy up, scores, makes it 21-17. Now this is where the game gets crazy, Paul. 2 minutes to go in the fourth. 4th and goal at the 2, and Eric Price throws an incompletion. But then on 3rd and 8 from the 4, Gene Struthers, the rookie, you cannot make that throw right there.
That is a throw I know Gene Struthers wishes he could have had back at that point in the game. And as a rookie, that's just something that over time he's going to learn and develop as a player. And I believe the future is looking bright for Gene Struthers and this Denver team as we move forward into the SFL.
Leighton over the middle, can't do that. So now Vegas with 1 minute and 44 seconds left is all set up. Now 4th and goal again at the 4, and Eric Price delivers. I thought it was going to be taken away by Rosca Santagria, but instead it's Prince Wonder with the touchdown. So 24-21. Final stages, Denver not giving up. Pass caught over the middle to set up Ye Verity, and we go to overtime. Now 3rd and 8 into field goal range. You can't take a sack there. And Eric Price does against his former team. So that brings out the punter, and it's blocked. And guess who it is? It's Rosca Santagria, the guy that almost had the pick to save the touchdown on 4th and goal in the 4th quarter. He gets the punt block and sets up Gene Struthers, and Gene says, it's my time. 3rd and 8, Logan Keel caught. 1st down. Another 3rd down late in the drive would come after they get into field goal range. Struthers again finds an open receiver over the middle to the 24. That's Riley Quintero. That sets up Ye Verity, the rookie, and the kick is good. 27-24. Vegas loses again to a team without a winning record. DC last week. Denver this week. Denver gets a huge win, moves to 3-7, and Vegas has lost 2 straight. And guess who they finished with, Paul? Arizona and Baltimore in their last 2 weeks of the season. So surely the number 6 seed London Knights would fare better, right? Right? To Houston we go, and Dave Burr, that's the wrong team. Mike Jones with the pick 6, he's gone. 7-0 London early, 5 minutes to go, and the Knights are looking A-OK. Houston's won 4 in a row, you know. Mike Jones plants the sword. Now it's Robert Merrill's turn. Next possession for London, 7-0. Hands it off to Merrill, and yeah, that's an untouched 6. 14-0. It was all Knights early, Paul.
And that's the Robert Merrill we saw all last season as he's starting to gain his form in season 20. Just a great run from Merrill on that last play.
Oh, but every great run deserves another. G.P. Wells gets the ball rolling down to the London 11 with Houston down 14-3. When you work that hard, you might as well let him finish off the drive. Not so fast. Dave Burr instead finds Mike St. Green, who's never missed an opportunity to cross the goal line. That's good. 14-10. London's lead is cut down to 4. Houston now leads, but just before the end of the half, London just continues to dominate 2-minute offense this season. They take a 21-17 lead into the locker room. Too much GP though in this game. Paul, 232 all-purpose yards for Ike McBride and over 200 rushing yards for G.P. Wells. He's out of here again.
And G.P. Wells doing G.P. Wells things, and that is running through defenders and running down the field for the Houston Headhunters. 136
at that point. Oh, you can't do that. Robert Merrill gives away a touchdown after Houston scored on that a touchdown on that G.P. Wells drive. 31-21, just like that in the 3rd quarter. Man, sloppy is the definition of London's season. They're 6-4, but man, they're making it as ugly as can be sometimes.
Absolutely, and the highlight to London is their offense is, as far as their defense goes, they've been struggling through 12 weeks of SFL action, and if they can make the right adjustments as far as the defensive side goes, I believe they're going to be a tough team come playoffs.
When London's not turning the ball over, they're brilliant. When they are, well, they're losing games. That pass is picked off by Diedrich Law on the final drive, 31-27. Houston gets the win. They have won 5 in a row. London falls to 6-4. No big deal. We'll find out more on why that's not a big deal in a moment. But first, Ashley Jackson caught up with the red-hot Damon Simeon.
Good friend of mine, Mr. Damon Simeon. He is the co-owner as well as Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Houston Headhunters. Welcome back, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks for having me again.
You're very welcome. And I bet you are with this win over London. This puts you guys at a 5-game winning streak. And I remember the last time I talked to you, you said that you were going to grind hard and you were going to change things around. And you really have, man. So just to
I
kind of
mean,
get people.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Just to kind of give people perspective, right? So you lost your first and second game, the first week 1 and week 2. Then you won
Yes.
week 3.
Hmm.
Then you lost week 4, 5, and 6, and then you've been on this winning streak ever since that time. So what changed, without giving too much away, of course, but like what changed with your coaching or maybe your mindset?
Well, yeah, that's a great question because it all started from a psychological experience, right? I mean, I've lost tight ends, like crazy the past, 3, 4 seasons or so, and I said, okay, well, I got to figure out something to keep my tight ends. I want to keep these guys around. And when we bought Talon Steele over last season, we were expecting him to be, on board for quite some time. But make a long story short, that he didn't get that many touches last season, and so I said, okay, well, I got to figure out something to keep the tight ends around. Let me figure out a way how I could keep these guys, keep these guys involved, and that's the way I built my playbook at the start of the season. Well, during the off season, I built my playbook basically to try to get the tight end involved, and it just wasn't effective for the entire team. With that, you didn't see passes to DRCM or to Mike St. Green or even to Greg Corkett, deep down the field. Basically, we were just out routing and stuff like that. And so I said, okay, well, we're on this losing streak. I got to go back, to what we do best. And that's basically air it out and also get the run game more involved as well and just mix things up and become a more balanced team. I said, I have some things in here for the tight end, but I still got to get my main core guys involved as well, And so basically that's what happened. I just went back to what I know that we do best. And, it has been, a success for us.
Awesome stuff, man. With this game over London, though, what do you think was the secret to your success for this particular game? Because, they scored first, looked like, it was kind of a struggle for a second, but then y'all just turned on the burners and left them behind.
Yeah. I mean, that pick six, I'm going to answer your question, but that pick six, by Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
It basically put them out front first with the first score of the game. I mean, it was the both defenses just did not want to lose this ball game, if you ask me. But I give kudos to our secondary coming out, staying on top, and forcing, I think Pickler had 5 picks or so, somewhere up in there, 4 or 5. I'm not sure how many exactly, but yeah. We basically was on top of that and came out victorious, due to the strength of our defense. And those guys have been playing great defense all game long, I mean, all season long. That's what I meant to say, all season long.
Indeed, man. Well, I am truly proud of the efforts that, when some people tell you they're going to do something, it might happen or it might not. But you told me that you're going to, you're going to start winning, and you had to win out in order to make the playoffs. So right now you're on a good track to do so. So
yeah. Thank you so much. But looking at that playoff picture, we're still on the outside looking in. We need one more win, to make us at 7-5. Hopefully we can get in, but it looks like those guys that are like 6-3, 6-4, they ain't losing or whatever, So I need some of them guys to lose so we can slide on in there.
I know that's right, man. But either way, I wish you guys a fantastic season thus far. Fantastic turnaround. I wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season. And I can't wait to see what you guys do.
Thank you so much. Same here. We can't wait either. I'm pretty amped up, for Alamo City is who we have next. I'm pretty sure they're amped up as well to get things going on, and battle with us. And someone said it on the broadcast during our game. Houston has been has been playing playoff football. And I absolutely agree with that. We have been playing playoff football, and that was said by Tyler Falk. He's absolutely correct. Because if we don't win, we don't have a shot at making the playoffs. So we most definitely, each game is a one and done for us.
Well, like I said, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do. All right.
Take care.
You too. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. It was interesting, Damon's response to his kind of rebirth when the team was 1-5. You know, on the one hand, you could say, well, Houston doesn't really have other ways to win, but on the other hand, Paul, you got to know who you are as a team, and they've gone back to their identity, who they are, airing the ball out down the field. And as we transition into a new era for the SFL, having an understanding and knowing your identity is going to be more critical than ever as a team. So, you know, kudos to Damon for recognizing that before it was too late. It may end up being too late at the end of the day, but at least he's given himself basically a 50-50 shot down to stretch the end of the season.
Yeah, and what a run Houston's going on to start 1-3 and then turn it around and go on a 6-game win streak. It's just a huge shout out to Damon and Houston for getting all these wins back to back to back and really making it an interesting playoff race. And their Week 14 matchup against Alamo City is, in my eyes, going to be one of the best games to watch of Week 14.
That playoff race updated is coming soon, but first, just to wrap things up, Paul, the top 4 teams who have played this week all lost, really for the first time since I can remember. So that's totally jumbled the entire playoff race. Just as an example, if Atlanta were to lose tonight, first place and 14th place would be separated by 2 games, Paul.
Wow.
So that's insane. So of those 4 losses, which one was the most shocking to you, Paul?
Most shocking to me had to be Baltimore's loss to Carolina. Jack Wigmore, entering the game with a 79.8 completion percentage, first in the league, was held to 53.7% against Carolina with 7 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. Ike McBride had a big game, and whole collective unit, as every user contracted player received a stat in the game against Baltimore.
Yeah, it was a great team effort. Now, I will say, you know, Baltimore had stumbles late in regular seasons. Then they rev up, and they are great in the playoffs. So from that standpoint, it wasn't a surprise. Vegas, 14-0 up at home on a Denver team who is ready to move on, was kind of stunning. I don't know how you blow that game. I don't know how you let the foot off the gas. So that's a problem for Vegas now. Did any loss change your opinion on anybody, or are we saying, well, they all lost, so it kind of doesn't really matter, they're all at the top end?
See, I'm going to turn what you just said about Vegas and say that Vegas is the team that I kind of have a changed opinion on. 2 weeks ago, Cam, you asked me if Las Vegas is going to have a first-round bye. I responded with no. They were 7-1 at the time. In 2 weeks, they've lost 2 games. They're now 7-3 and have one of the hardest schedules a team could have with Baltimore and Arizona on their schedule. So they could go from the number 1 seed at 7-1 and finish the season 7-5 if they aren't able to get a victory against
the
2 of the
playoffs.
top teams in the league. They could possibly miss the playoffs, and I hope for Las Vegas that isn't the case. But they sure do have a tough task at hand with Baltimore and Arizona as the 2 remaining teams on your schedule.
That would be crazy. You know, I'm more about JQ, Paul. 13 picks in the last 3 weeks. He's just not playing good football right now, and it's really doing harm to Tulsa's ceiling, I guess you could say. And it's lowering their floor too. I mean, they've got to figure out how to get JQ back to being efficient. We know that defense is tough, and obviously Seattle scored 31 points, but 14 of it was off their defense. So we know that Tulsa has a great defense. They just have to get it together. So we talked about Vegas snowballing. Do you see any of these other teams potentially collapsing? All these schedules seem really, really tough in the top 12.
As far as another team kind of falling apart, I don't believe so. Tulsa has a pretty tough schedule as well. I believe they have Atlanta and Indy in weeks 13 and 14. So those are 2 tough games for Tulsa. If they can get one of those 2 games won, I think they should be good heading into the playoffs. But those are 2 tough teams, as we're going to see tonight on Impact Monday, Camp.
Absolutely. So that's a look at all the craziness at the top of the league. So let's get back to the whole, well, why is London okay with their loss? Well, let's go to Canton, where Alamo City was in town. Brad Jones, everything was tough for him on this day, including this touchdown run. Put Alamo City up 10-0.
Yeah, Brad Jones was a key pickup for Alamo City, bringing him in, and as we see on this play, putting defenders in taking them to the laundromat with the spin cycle.
Fast forward to the fourth quarter, and Bob Funk is picking off Ace Fennick. Alamo City not able to put away Canton, and that's always dangerous because the Classics play their best football in the fourth quarter, 13-6. Alamo City only up 7, and you could feel the new surge in the stadium.
Yeah, and when you have a defense like Canton's, they've relied on them all season to win games and tried to do it there with another opportunity.
Oh, that is a beautiful one-handed catch from Kendra Wells. Ties the game at 13. Alamo City, anytime you're ready, got to get going, got to get in gear. 5-5. Ace Fennick is picked again. That's Gary Clem, who had another terrific game. So now Canton, after scoring a field goal, all they need is to get a stop. This is a big third down conversion for Fennick, and then on 3rd down and 9, the pass is caught, and Deuce is ruled down at the goal line. A bizarre call, but it may have worked out in Canton's favor. Ace Fennick on the goal line gets sacked, but this is killing time. This is killing opportunities for Canton to get the ball back. They're trying to get a stop. They're trying to get something crazy to happen, but Ace Fennick to Deuce Fennick wins the game for Alamo City.
And what a connection these two have, Cam. We see them on the show week after week, and as we saw in that play there, it helped Alamo City win the ball game.
Alamo City survives. They're 6-5. Houston survives. They're 6-5. They'll play each other in the final week of the season. Ashley Jackson caught up with 2 fan favorites from Alamo City, Rain Rie and Gunny McGuire after the game.
I am joined with 2 fantastic GMs of our league from the Alamo City Artillery. And they are Mr. Gunny McGuire and Mr. Rain Rie. They're also free safety and cornerback for Alamo City as well. I can't talk today. What's going on? Congratulations on the win that you guys came out with. Like, I thought for a minute y'all had lost your touch.
Thank you. You know, it was a hard-fought game, I can tell you that much.
Indeed. Gunny, what'd you think about it?
I thought our playoff shots were almost they almost got shot there near the end when they tied it up 13-3 and then took it over 16-13 late in the game.
So at that point, besides you feeling that way about your playoff chances being kind of stifled a little bit, how else were you feeling? What else did you see that you guys felt that had to occur in order to win? Was it particular?
We just always feel like we're more or we can score more than 13 points a game. We feel like we're pretty good offensive explosion, but we haven't been having it a lot this year. Been in too many close games coming down to the wire.
Gotcha. Do you think that's going to make a playoff? Do you think that's going to play a factor in the playoffs once you guys arrive?
As long as we win next week, I think we're going to be good, and I think we might surprise some people. It's going to be exciting to be maybe whatever seed, 10, 11, 12 seed. I think we're going to have a good game in the playoffs.
Okay.
We're due.
Indeed. Ray, what do you think the secret to Alamo City's success has been thus far?
Well, actually, it's been good coaching. I got to give it up to the coaching right now because the coaches have been putting in game plans after game plans after game plan to make us better. And everything that they're doing, I believe in, gonna believe in, and we all, as a team and a whole, we all believe in.
One more question for you.
Well said, Rain.
One more question for you guys. Describe the Alamo City Artillery's locker room in one word.
Gunny, go first.
Well, being a Marine, I'm going to just go oorah, which means we're just it's a brotherhood. Even with Tina, I mean, we just like it. All 24 of us in the locker room. We're all big one family.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well, you told me to describe it. I'm going to do it in one word. Boom.
Bo would approve of that.
I was just gonna say that. Good stuff, guys. Congratulations on the win, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do for the rest of the season. See you in the playoffs.
Hold on.
All right, thank you.
I got one more thing to say before this.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that this game was a complete classic. And to who this may concern, we are the kings of the South.
Oh, okay. That part.
That part.
Good luck, y'all.
Thank you much for having us on.
Anytime, brother.
Hate to spoil Rain's party here, but the winner of Fort Worth, Mexico City will have 8 wins, and they will be the kings of the South. But regardless, Alamo City gets the job done. Canton loses. They're 3-7, but let's focus on London first. They won the North, no problem. We thought maybe Canton would take the next step after a 6-6 season, Paul. They did not, and the Queen City and Motor City stayed in the basement. What's your expectations for London? They were the number 1 seed last year. What's your expectations for them these playoffs?
As far as my expectations, Cam, I think that London is going to take the next step, and they need to figure out their defense. And if they can do that, not a team in the SFL is going to want to go up against London. And after starting 1-3, Cam, they went on a 5-game win streak. In those 5 games, London is averaging 39 points a game. And I know if I'm going up against a team scoring 39 points a game, it's not going to be a fun night. So I think London may be able to take that next step, and they're going to be an extremely dangerous team come postseason.
I think, Paul, they're an extremely dangerous but flawed team. Are they going to cling to what they know and continue down the path and hope to just have the chips fall where they may, or are they going to try and fix those flaws down the stretch? I think that's the big question for London. Alamo City and Houston, Paul, they're both 6-5. Now they got to wait. Who knows where they're going to fall on the schedule, but at this point, they're just hoping for as many wild card teams to lose as possible next week. Plenty of them have the opportunity to do so, but it's going to be a pretty nerve-wracking bye week for both of those squads next week.
Yeah, and not only do you need help from a couple other teams during your bye week, you also have to prepare for an essentially playoff game for both of these teams, where it may be a last one in to the playoffs type deal, depending on who wins and if they can get the help they need. This Week 14 matchup between Houston and Alamo City, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be one of the best games on Week 14 slate.
I'd be stunned if a 6-6 team got in. It is still mathematically possible. Everyone's got to start losing and losing quick, but it is a reality out there for teams with 6 losses. Canton now has 7 losses, 3-7. Paul, what do you think is next for Canton? They can't be happy with how this season turned out, taking a step back.
Yeah, their defense has been shining for them this season. The offensive woes have continued week after week. They've only scored 152 points in 10 games, Cam. There are 6 other teams in the SFL who have scored double that. So I don't care how good your defense is. If you're only putting up 15 points a game, it's going to lead to a 3-7 record as it has this season.
Yeah, that's a great stat right there. So, we're bummed for Canton. I'll tell you who's positive here after I give a super chat shout out. Jack Wall, $2 super chat. Thanks, Cam. Please destroy my post game interview. It's already programmed. Sorry, Jack Wall with AJ.
Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with tight end Mr. Jack Wall. He is member of the Canton Classics, who just suffered a loss to. I know, man. I know. Just the Alamo City Artillery in a valiant effort to come back. Oh my gosh, man. Jack, what happened?
As you saw, actually, we were down the entire game, and then the fourth quarter came, and we ended up tying it up. An interception at the right time put us back in field goal range. We kicked the field goal to go ahead with about just over 2 minutes to go. and actually let myself get excited for a moment. And then 2 minutes later, touchdown by ACA put put our playoff hopes to rest this season. So it was a disappointing end to the game, but it was exciting, and that's all you could ask for in these SFL games. It was up and down, a lot of emotions, and upsetting. But again, at least it was nice to get back in it, feel that excitement, and oh, it hurts. It hurts, but it's one of those good hurt. It made me feel something today.
Right. And because the way I saw it, yeah, like you were saying, like this the first 3 quarters, I didn't know where Canton was, and then y'all exploded in the fourth. And I'm like, oh snap. I put eyes in the chat and everything. And
Our defense started to step up. Van with a huge interception today, of all days. By the way, shout out to Van for wearing his son's number. It's always great to see him play well when he's wearing that number 4 on his uniform. And then Bob Funk with a big interception at the end also. But ultimately, yeah, Ashley.
I'm here for you, man. I got my couch is right here. You can come talk to me.
Get the tissues ready. I'll lay down. Block out about an hour for me, and I'll bore my soul to you. But yeah, that was a tough one. And really happy for the ACA folks. A lot of good guys over there. The whole Finench family, all 8 of them that they have on that team, and
Right?
I think it's only 3, maybe 8. Who knows? One or the other. Yeah, so I mean, again, disappointing that we got eliminated out of the playoffs on a game like that today. But we fought, and that's all you could ask for. We had a chance to win it, and ultimately we didn't. But hey, hats off to ACA and their coaching staff, and they prepared just like we did. So.
Indeed. One more question before I let you go, Jack. What do you think about your season for Canton in its entirety? Like the way everything's played out?
You know what? It was a little after last season. We won obviously our last 4 games to finish 500, and that set us into the off season last year, riding a high, thinking we were going to build off that. So to know that our best case scenario this season is 5-7, if we win out the last 2 games, a little disappointing. And the offense was a little kind of took a step backwards this season. But overall, the defense still looks solid. The team is strong in terms of our bond, in terms of the interpersonal connections that we have, the locker room experience that we have, which is, again, always just what you want in the SFL. Unfortunately, the wins didn't come this season, but everyone can't win every season. So I'm gonna keep my head up, stay positive, and just know that we got a great locker room full of great people. And despite the season not going how we wanted to this year, we'll hold our heads high and finish the season strong and continue to. Well, I'll continue to laugh along the way. I know some people will be a little disappointed, but you can't bring me down.
Indeed. Hey, listen, valiant effort from a valiant crew. You guys are, all stars over there. So I'm sure with the bumps and bruises that you took this season, next season is going to be even better for y'all. All right.
I appreciate the kind words, Ashley. Thanks, and thanks for everything you do for this community. You're the best.
I appreciate it, Jack, but I do it for people like you. So.
Oh, making me melt over here.
Well, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I hope to, see how you guys are going to finish up the rest of the season, and to wish the best of luck to you.
Thanks, Ashley, and best of luck to you and the Scorpions the rest of the season this year as well.
All right, Jack. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Such a nice guy, Paul. It's a great interview from Jack Wall, and some good super chats coming in. $2 super chat from Harish. Jack, I'm jealous of your skincare routine. A lot of positivity on Impact Monday. Always, we'd love to see that. And then a $5 super chat from Harish that says Jack looks like the great grandson of the Canton logo. That is fantastically funny. Very, very well said. Back to the highlights as Queen City and Fort Worth did battle. Queen City winless, 0-9, but they've beaten Fort Worth 3 games in a row, and that's a pick in the back of the end zone for GB Wallace. Tie game at 7, 3:25 to go just before the half, and John Lakeman airs it out and perfectly placed to Doug Spelling right over the top of the defense. Queen City has the lead, 14-7. Now 14-10 in the third quarter. This is when it started to get sideways, Paul. John Lakeman, 1 pick in the first half, but he was a mess in the second half. 1 pick, there's another one, and Dan Dash, one of the best pick sixes you'll see all season. Oh, that is just beautiful. Fort Worth takes the lead.
A beautiful interception return for a touchdown there, and you might be right, that might be one of the best ones I've seen this season.
Here's another look at it. Dan Dash, just a beautiful spin move. Back-to-back weeks that Dash has returned a pick 6, and a huge shout-out I forgot earlier in the show. First win as a head coach for Denver head coach Stephon Forge after they made a coaching change a few weeks ago, so shout-out to him. Gets his first career victory in Vice Wars. 20-14 in the fourth quarter. John Lakeman has another shot. The Queen City defense keeping him in this game, and Lakeman is sacked by Jerry D. Gond. That wasn't the first time he got sacked, and it wouldn't be the last either. Next play, 3rd and 18. Lakeman sacked again by Jerry Degon. 4 sacks in this one. 1:15 to go. Queen City still has a chance. Oh, and it definitely improved their odds there. Doug Spelling, same play as the first half touchdown. Gets that one now 23-21. 1:08 to go. Last chance effort for Queen City. Close but no cigar again. 0-10 on the season. Fort Worth survives, is not upset. It goes to 7-3. Now to Vancouver. This game had it all. Touchdown Sioux Falls early. Made it 7-0. K. Marion. And then 3:23 to go in the first. Tyree off a play fake. Throws an interception. And that's taken back to the house for the score. Pick 6 for Vancouver. And they tied up at 7, 14-7. Christian Brown going long. Perfect ball. Justice Blackwell. This is the Christian Brown we saw make the playoff push last season, Paul.
Yeah, that was an absolutely beautiful throw. The arc on it, for it to come down and just for Justice Blackwell, for it to fall into his hands as he's walking into the end zone. Just look at that arc, Cam. Wow, what a throw by Christian Brown.
Pretty ball right over the head of Terrell Davis. Sioux Falls defense struggled with the deep ball all night. Miles Portis squeezes this one inside the pylon. Sioux Falls scored just before the half, 21-14. First halves have not been Sioux Falls' problem, but it's been stuff like this that's been their problem. Christian Brown to James Walters. Yeah, what are you doing? A.J. Levy misses and is missing a step on the back end of the defense. We're tied at 21. This has been their problem, Paul. First play of the second half. Tyree's pass is picked off. Michael Lister. I mean, they have just played terribly in second halves this season. Oh, catch the ball, Jason Williams. That is picked off and wrestled down to the 19-yard line. Sioux Falls, they've had games get away from them in the second half, and honestly, Paul, it's the difference in their season.
Absolutely. We even saw it on Impact Monday with one of the craziest third quarters I think I've ever seen, where Sioux Falls and Julian Tyree just kept turning the ball over, and momentum just totally shifted for them in that game.
Tyree's pass is caught by K. Marion I still don't know how this happened. Off the arm of the defender after the defender dove for the interception. One of the best catches you'll see all season.
That definitely has my vote for, or at least nomination for catch of the season. I don't know how K. Marion caught that, but the hand-eye coordination was on point for Marion on that play.
Laying on his arm, they'd score a touchdown on the drive, but too much Robert Redford in this Vancouver offense, 42-28. In the fourth quarter, Sioux Falls produced 8 total yards of offense. Zach Lay with the pick, and Vancouver takes it 45-28. More scores around the league. Florida continues their surge. They do enough to beat LA 22-17. They're 4-6. They are hanging on for dear life. Otis Boudreau, the hero again for Louisiana. They get the win over Portland in overtime, 19-16. You saw that game on Next Level Sports. Paul, third win by 4 points or less this season. They were 1-5 in those games last season. And, you know, some media pundits always talk about it, Paul. It's the law of averages. If you lose a bunch of close games in one season, you're probably going to win a bunch of close games the next season. It all balances out, and it's balancing out for Louisiana. This season, they are 6-4, and they are your current 12 seed. And for Minnesota, it doesn't matter how you win, just win, baby. They avoid the upset. Colin Hart becomes the fourth running back to 13,000 career yards. Minnesota gets the job done over a scrappy Jacksonville team. Sultan with the $2 super. Jack Wall rubs his great G-Paws helmet. I'm only saying that on this show because I think that's Tristan Hatley, and you played a great game against Baltimore, so I got to give you your super chat shout out. $5 super chat from Doug Day. Go Nemesis. $5 super chat from Jeff Banfield. Indy is going to show up and show out tonight on Impact Monday. That's coming up next for our YouTube audience. Gunny with the $5 super chat. Salutes to the South Division. All 4 teams will finish season 2,500 or better. ACA, Fort Worth, Houston, Mexico City. Season well played, and I couldn't agree more. And now we finally get to our updated standings, Paul, and it is a mess. Atlanta now controls their own destiny. They are the lone one-loss team left. Baltimore is your number 2. Arizona right behind them. They lost the head-to-head. Tulsa is still in 4th. 7-3, percentage points better than Fort Worth, who still leads the South thanks to their head-to-head win over Mexico City. Tulsa still leads the Central thanks to their head-to-head win over Minnesota. Those 2 teams are right behind them at 6-7. Vegas is 7-3. They fall to 8th. They would still host a playoff game, but if Indy wins tonight, that they could be in trouble and fall even further. Their SOV is a little shaky. 371, Vancouver and London. They are division leaders and division winners respectively. They're there at the bottom. Louisiana clinging to spot number 12. San Diego on the outside looking in right now. So is Houston and Alamo City. Carolina, by virtue of their head-to-head over DC, they are in the 16 spot now. DC right behind them at 17 at 5-5. Earlier in the show, Blake Prine had a $2 super chat that said over/under on a plus 500 team. That's a 7-5 or better record, missing the playoffs. Paul, where would you put that over/under where the standings are today?
As far as the over/under on how many teams?
Yeah, how many teams missed the playoffs with a 7-5 or better record?
I gotta say at least 3 or 4.
Three or four?
Yeah. As we see, or maybe 2.
You don't. Well, but basically what you're saying, Paul, is you don't expect Indy to lose out. You don't expect Louisiana to lose out. You don't expect San Diego to lose out, and somebody of Alamo City and Houston's getting 7, right? So you just don't expect those things, and there's going to be 7-win teams on the outside.
And as far as what I'm expecting after this weekend, anything's possible. And with the top 4 teams that played this weekend losing, Atlanta better. I know they've seen what's happened this weekend, so I know Atlanta's going to have their guards up against a high-flying Indianapolis offense, and it's going to be a great game.
It is going to be a great game for our YouTube audience. Atlanta and Indianapolis comes your way next. A mini preview with Mike O'Neill off this week, but we've got your stage setting for Atlanta and Indianapolis for everyone on Next Level Sports. You can catch more SFL action all week long, and make sure that you catch Atlanta and Tulsa this upcoming Saturday, Week 13, Season 20 of the SFL. 2 of the top 4 teams in the SFL in a very critical game coming up on the Saturday showcase in week number 13. For our YouTube audience, stay tuned. Atlanta and Indianapolis is coming your way next. This has been This Week in the SFL. For Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. We'll see you next week for our weekly recap, and we will be right back after this. Welcome to Impact Monday. Along with Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. Tonight, it's the 8-1 Atlanta Swarm back in the number 1 spot in the standings, taking on the 6-3 Indianapolis Ramblers, who with a win could force a 3-way tie atop the Central Division. Paul, this one has all the anticipation. The Snake Pit is going to be loud tonight. It is the first Impact Monday game ever in Indianapolis, and we expect a thrilling game this evening.
Oh, most definitely going to be a thrilling game. You have a top 5 defense against a top 5 offense. Always bound to be a good game when that happens. And also the first time these teams have ever played one another. So excited to see who's going to take the early lead in this matchup. And both of these teams, Cam, I'll tell you what, they've really turned things around from last season, where Atlanta was 6-6. They're now 8-1, and Indy was 3-9 last season. Now they're 6-3, and in a extremely strong spot in the playoff race. And both of these teams want to come out tonight and add another win to the column. So I can't wait to see who's going to be getting that victory later tonight.
Two of the most improved teams in the SFL, and I think you make a great point, Paul. It's the first time we've seen these teams go at it with each other. Adam Wiseman was in Denver, Chad Rowland was in London, and so we know those guys have played Atlanta before, just not in this current iteration. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. Here's your top storylines tonight. This is a golden opportunity for Atlanta. Paul, can they harness it? Everyone else in the top 6 failed to do so this week. Can Atlanta get a win and separate themselves from the pack? Can Indy step up? They're playing a very good team. Most of their wins have come against teams that have not had a very good season. So is Indy for real? Right, we're about to find out tonight, and we know the Snake Pit's going to be rocking. They're 6-1 in their last 7 home games. Their only loss was to Baltimore.
Yeah, and as far as what the result will be tonight, Indy has one of the hardest tasks this season going up against an incredible Atlanta Swarm team. And 7-1 at home is extremely impressive, but playing at home against an 8-1 team is something Indy may not have been able to do in that stretch. But excited to see how this game's going to pan out and see who's going to add another win to the column.
Kickoff is next, and we're here for it. Damon, Simeon, Jack Brown, and our stat truck, Tyler Falk, Chris Curtis, back in our SFL studios, and Paul and I have the call from the Snake Pit coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Marconi escapes pressure and throws an interception, and Grayson will return it for a touchdown. We are tied. Rocco Marconi scrambling away from a defender, and Grayson steps in front of the pass and scores. 3rd down and 5, 1 minute to go in the quarter. Still no Bulldog as Bulldog wideout has caught a pass. Hart is out of the shotgun with Baja to his left, and Hart will hand off on a delay. No, he won't. Sacked in the backfield. Joe Dazzo on a blitz, and he's poking fun at Jasper Hart down on the ground. Joe Dazzo, forget about David Baja. He just creams Jasper Hart, and it's another 4th down.
2nd and 9 to the 48. Honolulu just 1 timeout left. They get the ball, leaving with about 30 seconds left. Hand off Parker. Parker's on the first down. Parker goes! Parker, back attack. Tag. Down to the 6-yard line. Ball game. Between arguably the top two teams in the league, coming up in a couple of weeks. 3rd down and 4. Zuli back to pass. Deep shot to Corky's wide open inside the 15, down to the 11-yard line.
Red Feather's going to have Brewski in the backfield, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. Red Feather pump fakes once, right-hand side. That's going to be picked off! Picked off by O'Neal. Julius O'Neal with his first interception of the day.
And it's panic time now for the Pride. Christensen throws. That's batted up in the air and intercepted. It's taken away and down the sideline goes number 20. Lucius Sanders put it on the board. Touchdown, Cleveland. Oh my goodness.
And here's the counter play to Zulu, and Ogun will go. He's his best run of the day, and Ogun Zulu will go for the touchdown. Wow, what a run by Ogun Zulu.
Unbelievable. Man, they're being very precise, like exactly what you wanted them coming out of the half. And Pickler dropping back. He's going to fire deep, and it's going to be caught. And he's at the 30, to the 20, to the 10, and taking it into the end zone. Nick Finch with a huge touchdown, and just, wow, what a play from the Gladiators, and the coverage there from the Tyrants. The DB went for the interception, and he came up with error.
1st and 10 from the 21 here. Just over 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Chicago trying to uppercut this St. Louis Gladiators team and put them on the ropes. King, shotgun snap, moves in the pocket, fires deep down the field, caught at the back line! What a grab, and the first touchdown of Greg Soto's career is a spectacular one.
Greg Soto coming in, replacing the retired J.C. Torres. Said, don't worry, Shan. I know you're about to win one.
This will be just under 32 yards for Otis Boudreaux. On his left hash, the right footer stands ready. Spot is down. Kick is up. It is good. Otis Boudreaux does it again in walk-off fashion. Louisiana taking down Florida 20-19.
They go 4 wide with the tight end split out. South over the middle, throws another interception, and this time it's Jack Brown.
That one's going in the house.
Scores touchdown at the 36.
They call this, Colin, the law of averages. You know, whenever there's this many interceptions going on in a game, one of them's bound to go back to the house and get some points, right?
Oh my goodness. Now both the linebackers have an interception, but this time Jack Brown turns around and runs it into the end zone.
And I'll tell you something. Deep drop for Dunhill. He's going to lob it deep. It's going to caught. No one around him. He's going to be in. Touchdown. Forward Toros. Stephen Hacker does the robot and gets us off flying.
Welcome to the Winner's Circle, where tonight 2 of the best teams in the SFL will do battle in the Snake Pit. It's the 8-1 Atlanta Swarm and the 6-3 Indianapolis Ramblers on Impact Monday here on SFL YouTube. Alongside Jack Brown, Damon, Simeon, Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. Tonight, it should be a great one, Paul. First meeting between these 2 teams ever. And we get to see a bunch of great ones on the field this evening.
Bunch of great players, Hall of Fame players from Atlanta and just superstars over in Indianapolis. Definitely going to be a great game. Excited to see Atlanta's pass defense against Indianapolis's passing game. Indianapolis has scored 32.2 points a game this season, 380 passing yards, which is first in passing touchdowns with 26. But Atlanta is second in pass touchdowns allowed with 13 and is only allowing 21.9 points per game. It's definitely going to be a great one, Cam.
Not a whole lot of breeze here in Indy tonight, and we're all set and ready to rock. This place gonna be jumping here tonight. It's Atlanta and Indianapolis from the Snake Pit. Our first time here. It is loud. We are ready. Let's go. Kick it. We're underway. From 3 yards deep, Kanye Rockefeller, who's having a season he'll never forget, gets it out of the 25-yard line, and out comes the top-flight passing offense of the SFL, led by Colin Pierce. 3,422 yards first, 26 touchdowns first. Ryan Roosevelt first in receptions, yards, touchdowns, targets. First. First down at the 25. They start empty backfield, 5 wide. And Pierce will fire it deep to Roosevelt, and the pass is knocked away by Moose Papineau. And Moose says, we're here, and we're not going to give it to you. Second down.
And if I'm Pierce there, I definitely, opening this game, first down, definitely want to target Ryan Roosevelt. They have been the best duo of quarterback to wide receiver that we've seen this season, and possibly that we've seen in a while.
2nd and 10 at the 25, 1,441 yards for Roosevelt, trying to join that exclusive, very exclusive 2,000-yard club. He's going to catch this one on the sideline to pick up 7. He would need about 170 yards or so per game over the last 3 to get there, 3rd and 3.
And it's definitely something that he is capable of doing. Cam, last week against Sioux Falls, the Ramblers won 36-33, and Ryan Roosevelt had 16 receptions for 231 yards.
3rd and 3 at the Indy 32. Pierce starts 1 for 2. He'll take a straight drop back, and he'll fire it into traffic, and it is incomplete. Knocked away easily by Damon Blackwell. Indy's in the white helmets with the black jerseys and pants tonight. White numbers foregoing the deep red tonight. Atlanta in the blue helmets, white tops, black pants with the blue numbers. Can't wait to see what Indy does with their uniforms next season. May I suggest bricks up the side? 4th and 3,
sure would look good.
So 3 and out early. Atlanta's defense making things happen. And Kyle Finnemore will return this one up to the 35-yard line. So out comes Bryant Dynasty. Dynasty having a good season, too. 5th in the league in QBR, 94.6. He throws the second fewest interceptions with 14. He's 9th in the league in completion percentage, 72.8. BDG Hollywood 9th in rushing yards, 865.
And BDG Hollywood has helped Atlanta to the 8-1 record so far, and I believe is going to be a key component in this game tonight.
Dynasty out of the gun. He'll start throwing. Out to BDG. Makes one man miss. Breaks a tackle off a second. Adam Wiseman helps to clean it up. Let's meet the Atlanta Swarm offense. That includes 2 Hall of Famers, BDG Hollywood and Boo Chisholm, at running back and receiver respectively. Dynasty at quarterback, Mitchell O'Brien, the fullback, Kyle Finnemore and Siege Falco help out Boo Chisholm on the outside. Jamal Wooding is your tight end. Left tackle, Carter Hollywood, and left guard, Sam Falco, the strength of this offensive line. 2nd and 6 at the 39. Dynasty drops to throw. That pass is intercepted off the deflection. In fact, I think it hit a diving Atlanta receiver on the way down, and Bryant James makes yet another interception on another terrific season.
And last year's number 1 overall draft pick had 2 interceptions last week, helping his team win, and already in this first quarter, giving Bryant Dynasty another interception and getting the ball right back for the Ramblers.
So pass deflected off of a Rambler, then it actually hit an Atlanta receiver and fell right into the arms of Bryant James. That pass is incomplete, looking for Jeff Bamfield, and both of these offenses are going to have to adjust as both defenses have clearly come to play this evening.
And with what we've seen every week on Monday night, Cam, we really never know what we're getting into, whether it's going to be an offensive dominated game or a defensive battle. We've seen it all this season, and early in this first quarter, it's looking like defense is playing strong.
2nd down and 10 at the 49 for Pierce. Neither team's been able to move the ball at all as Pierce goes deep, and the pass is deflected. Intended for Randy Pierce. I think Jay Miraculous got a finger on it. 3rd down and 10, and it is a 1-for-4 start for Colin Pierce.
And what a miraculous pass deflection there, because if that ball just had a little bit more arc on it, that was 6 points for Indianapolis right there.
Pierce completes 72.5% of his passes, way behind that mark so far. 2 receivers either side with Christian Pierce in the backfield, yet to get a carry. Colin will fire slants. That pass is intercepted at the 38-yard line. Moose Papineau returns it up to the 47-yard line. Someone going to have to show something different here tonight, or we're going to play this game entirely inside the 30s.
And what a great job from Moose Papineau. And both of these secondaries in these first couple drives, just creating turnovers, fighting for the ball to get it back for your team. That's just a great interception from Moose Papineau there.
Henry plays one of the spread in the chat. You got it. Indy's a 6.5-point dog here at home tonight against the 8-1 Swarm. 60.5 is the over-under. Jack Stata expects points. Just haven't seen any so far. 9:37 to go in the first half. This is looking a lot like the London-Fort Worth start that we had a few weeks ago. That game turned out to be a great one. BDG Hollywood gets nothing, so that sets up 2nd down and 10. And Paul, we have had let me get the plays right. We've had 10 plays and 11 yards in the first 2 minutes.
To have almost as many plays as yards in the game is something we don't really see on Monday night, but it just shows that both of these defenses came to play.
2nd and 10 of the Atlanta 47. Dynasty fires outside. That pass caught by Boo Chisholm. He'll turn the corner. Chisholm down to the Indy 42-yard line to pick up a 1st down.
Boo Chisholm's 52nd catch on the season, having a pretty solid season. He actually is tied on the team with Siege Falco and BDG Hollywood, coming into the game with 51 receptions, and takes the team lead in completions with that one, and definitely something to keep an eye on as this game progresses.
Trips left, 1st and 10 of the Indy 42. 8.5 to go in the first quarter. No score between Atlanta and Indianapolis. Bryant Dynasty outside, caught. That's Jamal Wooding with his 25th catch of the season. Picks up 8, 2nd and 2. Let's meet the Indy defense up front. Rocco Rossi, Mac Dre, Derek Jenko, Jabril Kurse. Jenko leads all tacklers with 27. Linebackers, Adam Wiseman, Chris Britton III, and Chad McDevitt are your LB core. Corners, Blake Prine, Angel Maldonado, Ernest McCrae Sr., and Adam Knoll. Safeties are a very talented bunch. Kanye Rockefeller and Bryant James. Hollywood goes nowhere on that carry. Chad McDevitt with the tackle. If they give him a loss, that would be his 7th TFL of the season, which ties the team lead.
Going back to the play before that, Jamal Wooding getting involved early. I'm a big believer in hashtag throw it to the tight end. You got to get your tight end involved in the game and help your offense gain some yards and move the chains.
And off Hollywood, nothing. Backs out of field goal range, and one thing that Indy looks ready for is BDG in the ground game. Britton the third with the tackle. BDG's had no room to run thus far. 3 carries, -2 yards, and they'll have to punt to the ever-dangerous Kanye.
And Kanye Rockefeller, he returned a punt earlier in the season, has returned 3 kick returns for a touchdown, a dynamic player on special teams.
Not going to get a chance to return this one. Instead, the ball's going to die right at the goal line. Got to have a little bit more urgency than that, so it goes back to Indy. Colin Pierce, 1 of 6 with a pick for 7 yards. And, Christian Pierce, no carries. They got to get something moving.
Colin Pierce last week threw the ball 67 times in a high-flying game, completed 49 passes for over 500 yards, only 2 touchdowns, though. So definitely not the start that he had last week.
1st and 10 of the 20, they'll get the ground game going, and Christian Pierce picks up 4 yards on the play. Let's meet the Atlanta defense up front. Mickey Gibson, Billy Ray Valentine, Leo Jefferson, Joshua Williams. Linebackers, Cree Higgins, Diamond Blackwell, and the Hall of Famer, Aquanta Shine. Corners, Jack Napier, Don Fletcher, Jay Miraculous. Safeties, Moose Papineau, who's got his 7th pick of the season earlier in the game, Grant Hardaway, and Chris Henry. Another run to Pierce as they try to establish a run game. Jefferson with the stop, 3rd and 4.
And in such a pass-heavy offense that Indianapolis has, Christian Pierce, who is 19th in the league with 159 carries, he is 26th in the league in yards with 353 for only 2.2 yards per carry.
3rd and 4 at the 26. Pierce goes back to the air game, and it's swatted away. Another slant knocked down by Diamond Blackwell. Just the 2nd pass deflection of the season for Diamond. Indy will have to punt again.
And when teams prepare for Indianapolis, as I mentioned, they pass the ball so much, but they have proven to be successful with it this season. But the front office and defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Swarm, Joshua Williams, put the time in, and it's showing here in this first quarter.
Right now, Atlanta is winning the field position battle. They're going to start this drive from their own 40, so that could be something to watch. They've had a little bit more success offensively, and it could end up generating them the first points of the game. Hey, $2 super chat, Paulie, from Arizona. Paulie stepped his game up big time since week 1. Look at that.
Hey, it's all love, Eddie. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, week 1, a little nervous getting into this, but over time, that's all you can do is get better.
1st and 10 of the 40. Bryant Dynasty fires over the middle. That is incomplete to Kyle Finnemore. And both these offenses hoping over time they can get better in this one. Another incompletion.
And this first quarter has just been a defensive battle. Just both of these defenses playing exceptional football and not giving anything up to the opposing team.
They're all over it, Paul. I mean, it's really exciting because I really have no idea how this game is going to play out because both defenses are playing so well. Bryant Dynasty, 2nd and 10. That pass is caught by Falco down to the Indy 41-yard line. It's a pickup of 19 yards. Biggest play of the game for either team. Atlanta's in Indy territory again.
Mama, that man is flying. Siege Falco with a huge play for Atlanta to try to get them jump-started. And as you mentioned, we really just don't know how it's going to pan out, and both of these teams can change the tide of the game just in one play. So I'm excited to see who's going to take that first chance.
Dynasty, 4 completions to 4 different players. Falco, Chisholm, Wooding, Hollywood. There's a penalty. BDG going to break a tackle. Oh, BDG with a sick ankle break, and Atlanta's got a touchdown. Forget the offside.
Wow. BDG Hollywood. What a juke move. He juked me on that one myself. Wow. Taking an early lead is Atlanta. Penalty does not matter. We're going to see this again, Cam. Look at this man. Whoop. Look at that guy. Wow.
Dang with a capital D, although I have to say it was a block in the back at the end of that play, right at the juke. I don't know if we could rewind it, we could, but man, that guy got shoved. Officials missed the call. Atlanta happy anyway. They just get some points up on the board, and the Swarm strike first.
That is just what BDG Hollywood does. 10th touchdown on the ground for him in season 20.
A quick 3-play, 60-yard drive. Started with the Falco catch for 19. BDG goes for 41. And Atlanta's up 7-0 on Indy early on in this contest. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, it's football for everyone. And Rockefeller gets it up to the 26-yard line. I like what Indy tried to do. The early pass game wasn't working. They got Christian Pierce moving a little bit, but they still haven't found an answer to the secondary for the Swarm.
And the game plan for Atlanta was to try to shut Colin Pierce and Ryan Roosevelt down. They've just been dominating every team they've played this season, and Atlanta Swarm came prepared.
4 wide, Colin Pierce into the middle, and lucky to complete that pass for a first down to the Indy 39. Rob Hunt with the reception.
Rob Hunt, getting a first down for his team. All eyes have been on Ryan Roosevelt so far in this game, but Rob Hunt making an impact for Indianapolis here in this first quarter.
Colin Pierce now a stellar 2 for 8 for 20 yards passing. Back to the shotgun, same formation here, 1st and 10 at the Indy 39. Same play. Colin Pierce's pass is tipped up and incomplete. Let's meet the Indianapolis starting offense. Colin Pierce, Christian Pierce, Randy Pierce, all out there, quarterback, running back, and tight end. 4 wide receivers to keep an eye on tonight. Rob Hunt, Jay Viper, who had a stellar banner game a couple of weeks ago. Ryan Roosevelt, the league's top receiver, and Jeff Banfield on the line. Watch the interior. Guard Chad Rowland and Max Van Linge, the first-round pick. Both 6'7", both big guys up front to protect Colin Pierce. This ball is deep and tipped away and incomplete. Looking for Viper. 3rd and 10. 2 for 9 is Pierce now. Make it 2 for 10.
And as we saw with that pass deflection, Indianapolis coming into tonight has 52 as a team and is in the top 10 in the league in season 20, and trying just to lock in and try to get the ball back for your offense is what Atlanta's doing right now.
3rd and 10. Colin Pierce's pass is caught by Roosevelt. Beats the defense. The Atlanta 36. Boy, did they need that, as the Ramblers are finally beyond the 50.
Finally moving the ball on this drive. They've had the ball a couple times so far to start this game, and have finally got the engines rolling. And this Colin Pierce to Ryan Roosevelt connection is something special.
1st and 10, 4:15 to go in the first quarter. Split backs now for Colin Pierce. 3 receivers, 2 to his right. Pierce, pump fake. Excellent pump fake. Fires out to Roosevelt. He makes a catch for a gain of 5. Crazy stat here in the first quarter so far. Atlanta averages 6 passes defended per game. They have 6 in the first quarter. It's 2nd and 5.
And that just goes to show that Atlanta knew the assignment coming into the game. And when you have going up against an offense that's pushing almost 500 passing yards or 400 passing yards a game, this is the exact game plan that they needed to come out with.
And off Christian Pierce, he is stood up by the wall. Leo Jefferson, his 2nd tackle. He appears to be a problem for Indianapolis up front. And another 3rd down coming for the Ramblers.
And I'm interested to see the play call here on 3rd and 4 in field goal range. You'd be okay with the 3 points, but you'd ideally want to tie the game up here.
3rd and 4, pressure right in front of Colin Pierce, and the pass was actually, his arm was hit at the line of scrimmage. Fletcher in the area, but it'll force a field goal for the Indy offense. But that was really scary. I'm surprised Colin Pierce didn't even move a step. He stayed very composed.
Yeah, they almost didn't even have an opportunity to kick a field goal, and that would have not fared well for them to give Atlanta an opportunity to go up 2 scores on you.
That's 7 passes defended for Atlanta. That's now above their season average. They're 7th in the SFL coming into the game with 56 deflections. Top Kiefer's your kicker, 14 out of 15. Both in field goals made and attempted is 18th best in the league. That field goal is good from 46. Although drifting right, Indy's on the board 7-3.
And how about Top Kiefer coming into Indianapolis here, I believe in week 2 or 3, and to have the season he's having, he's showing confidence kicking the ball for the Ramblers this season, and has even helped them win a few games.
Kiefer will kick it away. From the 5, Kyle Finnemore. Field position, gets smacked at the 25-yard line, so Bryant Dynasty gets another opportunity. So this is huge down the stretch for Atlanta, Paul. They've got Tulsa next week on national TV, and then they've got potentially an extremely desperate Florida squad. If Florida ends up 5-6, does Florida have Seattle next week?
They do, yeah. Florida against Seattle. Definitely have had my eyes on that one for all season now as Florida's former team, so definitely going to be a good one.
Nemesis trying to play spoiler in that matchup just like they did against Tulsa. That's a pickup of 4 for BDG. You see there his 41-yard touchdown. On the rest of his carries, just 2 yards. 2nd and 6 after the Wiseman tackle.
And for someone averaging 4.8 yards every time you touch the ball on the ground is exactly what has made BDG Hollywood the Hall of Fame player that he is.
Dynasty's pass is incomplete. Adam Wiseman all over the place. Will set up a 3rd and 6.
Adam Wiseman having a solid season so far. 77 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, 6 passes deflected coming into tonight, and already making an impact for his team, trying to limit this Atlanta offense from putting points up.
Dynasty's pass caught by Boo Chisholm. First down to the 39. It's his 2nd grab. It's the first catch for any receiver, the first receiver to 2 receptions in the game, and it brings up a 1st down.
In the booth, Cam, I'm hearing the boos from the fans, but I'll tell you one thing, that is a good boo anytime you hear the boo from an Atlanta fan.
2:15 to go in the first. I'm not sure that the Snake Pit, I don't know. It's a bit of a mixture, bit of a confused crowd out there as BDG Hollywood gets up to the Indianapolis 49-yard line. He's starting to run pretty well.
Yeah, and coming into this game, you have to game plan for BDG Hollywood. And so far to this point in the game, Indianapolis has been able to kind of keep BDG Hollywood under wraps. But one thing you don't want to do is let BDG Hollywood start to kind of gain his footing and start to shift momentum, because he's a player that can do it all himself.
1:45 to go in the first. BDG off that left side again. BDG breaks a tackle past the 30, all the way down to the 21-yard line. Hollywood, the difference maker in the first quarter. He's up to 83.
This is just what he's done for so long in the SFL. He is one of the best at making defenders miss and one of the hardest running backs to bring down.
We've been so focused on, whether Baltimore's going to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Well, Atlanta's in the position to do that. They have 54 wins at the Hive all time. They would love to be the number 1 seed in these playoffs, especially. Dynasty's going for the end zone. It's caught by Siege Falco, 13-3. Atlanta races out in front.
Siege Falco. Wow, just beating the secondary there. Nobody was covering him. The safety just came up a little too far and has allowed Siege Falco to get his 5th touchdown on the season.
Bryant James, who had the pick earlier tonight, grossly over-pursues that. And you know what I've noticed, Paul, in this first quarter? I haven't seen Kanye Rockefeller in the picture. Atlanta is avoiding him at all costs, and they've found success in doing so. Extra point good, 14-3.
Yeah, and that, as far as avoiding Kanye Rockefeller after the season he's having this season, I would expect nothing less from teams that are lined up against him. He's had 87 tackles, 6 passes deflected, 6 interceptions, which is 9th in season 20.
Dynasty's 19th touchdown of the season. Far cry from his 34 last season, but of course Atlanta didn't even make the playoffs. So all's well that ends well. I think that the biggest difference for Dynasty is 37 interceptions last season, but just 14 this season with 3 weeks left. 1st and 10 at the 21 after Rockefeller's return.
Yeah, the turnovers for Atlanta has definitely helped them to be able to bring them down by over half. It's exactly what has helped them to an 8-1 record so far this season.
Pierce has to get it moving. Nearly threw a pick. Threw it out to the fullback, and that's only a pickup of 1 yard. That's no bueno. Vito Valino with the catch. So 2nd and 9 as Indy continues to struggle to find its identity this evening.
So far in this first quarter, only 51 passing yards, on pace for 200 in this game, where they're averaging 380 per game this season.
2nd and 9. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter, dominated by Atlanta. Colin Pierce finds on a corner route Rob Hunt. Second catch for Rob. Viper and Banfield, along with Pierce, still without one. But Rob Hunt may be a difference maker as this game goes along.
Definitely, and for Colin Pierce, you haven't been able to connect with Jeff Banfield on four different attempts. Jay Viper's been targeted twice, but Rob Hunt catching both of his targets for 35 yards and helping the Ramblers ramble on and move the chains.
5 seconds to go in the first quarter, 14-3. Atlanta on top. Indy trying to keep it moving. Deep shot. Roosevelt picked off by Jay Miraculous. They're not giving him any room deep. And Atlanta continues their stellar start.
This Atlanta secondary is just playing phenomenally. We saw Jay Miraculous with a touchdown saving pass deflected and getting the ball back for his team right there.
That ball thrown way too much inside. Atlanta 14, Indy 3. Trying to put the Ramblers back in their place. The number 1 seeded Swarm off to a hot start. You're watching Impact Monday on the SFL YouTube channel, presented by APM Music, alongside Damon, Simeon, and Jack Brown on stats. Tyler Fall, Chris Curtis back at the studio. He's Paul Sarp. I'm Cameron Irvine. And Atlanta has been impressive through 11 minutes of work. 5 wide for Dynasty on 1st and 10. Just a 3-man rush. Deep shot down the field, tipped up and incomplete. Really nice coverage from Blake Prine, his first deflection of the night. 2nd and 10.
Brian, Dynasty, after the Atlanta Swarm defense gave you the ball, almost gave it right back to Indianapolis. And Blake Prine as well is just having an awesome season. That's Blake's 14th pass deflected, trying to make their way to the top 3 in the season leaderboards.
2nd and 10 at the 34. Dynasty's pass is knocked away. There's Wiseman again. Just 18 incompletions. You mentioned earlier, Paul, from Colin Pierce last week, 49 of 67. He is 6 for 16 to start. Big, major 3rd and 10 here for Atlanta to try and keep the momentum moving. They're 1 of 2 on 3rd down.
And Atlanta already with an 11-point lead. You have an opportunity this drive to extend that lead, but you got to convert on 3rd and long here.
3rd down, Dynasty, deep shot, down the field, intercepted at the 44-yard line, looking for Falco. That pass picked off. Oh, silly me, I don't have it in front of me. Ernest McCray Sr. with the interception, and he put that up perfectly.
And if those first 2 passes on 1st and 2nd down weren't able to be intercepted, 3rd time is the charm for this Ramblers defense, giving the ball back to Colin Pierce and giving them a chance to make this a 4
interceptions in this game so far, and that's number 5. Well, Colin Pierce just threw it right back to him. That's Don Fletcher with the pick.
Don Fletcher, just a lot of interceptions here. Just the quarterback's not on the same page as the receivers and just making some dangerous throws in this first half and just showing out on defense for both of these teams.
Pierce is a mess. He can't figure out this Atlanta defense right now. Credit to the Swarm coaching staff. They're all over it. 1st and 10 in midfield. Dynasty steps up in the pocket. That's tipped up and incomplete. Bryant James with the deflection. He's got 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, a pass deflection, and a pick in the first half.
Bryant James is all over the field, proving everything and then some for this Indianapolis Ramblers defense and showing why they picked him at number 1 overall just 2 seasons ago.
2nd and 10 in midfield. Dynasty's going empty out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. And Dynasty's pass down the field, caught by Falco, first down to the Indy 24. Guess stats are not going to give us what we need tonight. Whatever. Falco's got a first down.
Let me hear a caw, Cam. Siege Falco getting it done, moving the chains yet again. The lone scorer, or not the lone scorer, as far as receivers, the lone scorer, getting a touchdown earlier in this game. BDG Hollywood with a rushing touchdown as well.
I think it just woke my wife up. 80 total yards for Indianapolis to 182 for Atlanta. That pass is caught by BDG Hollywood, and he spins up to the Indy 21-yard line. If the Ramblers want to have any hope of stopping this momentum for Atlanta, they got to settle for 3 here or find a way to get another turnover.
Going down 21-3 is definitely something that Indianapolis is not going to want to do. And as you mentioned, they just have to try to get a turnover or force a stop and hold them to 3 points.
Dynasty going to the end zone, wide open. That deserves another touchdown. 20-3. Atlanta smoking the Ramblers.
And Bryant Dynasty throwing a dime to Siege Falco 2 times in a row. Little one-handed catch from Siege, wide open in the end zone, with a 20-3 lead for Atlanta.
I'd hate to be the guy that's responsible for flexing out Vice Wars. Yikes. Atlanta's up 17. They have looked like, well, quite frankly, Paul, the best team in the league. They look really good tonight.
They definitely look really good tonight, and Indianapolis is an extremely tough team. There's a reason they're 6-3, and Atlanta just is all over them so far in this first half, and the score shows it, Cam.
Henry, the caw requires a voice crack. That's the whole point of the caw. Any caw with no voice crack is not a caw.
You're just not doing it right if there's no voice crack.
Some would say caw is the law in St. Louis, but that's a different ball game. 9:42 to go in the first half. 21-3. Atlanta leads Indianapolis. And outside of Dynasty's 2 mistakes, they have looked essentially perfect. BDG, 7 carries, 83 yards and a touchdown. Dynasty's got 124 yards. Falco with 87 on 4 catches and 2 scores. And Indy's in trouble.
Siege Falco, even last week, added 6 receptions for 127 yards and a touchdown. Already off to a hot start in this first half, looking to maybe double his stat line from last week.
Yeah, he's getting going up to 6 now, 1 behind Boo. Colin Pierce keeps it safe and hits Jeff Banfield for the first time tonight. And that'll make it a more manageable second down.
Jeff Banfield's having a great season as well, besides Ryan Roosevelt. When you have the number 1 receiver on your team in Roosevelt, you got to have that number 2 target, and Banfield has lived up to that hype. 65 receptions, over 700 yards coming into the game tonight.
2nd and 4, 9:20 to go in the first half. Atlanta's up 21-3. Pierce was waiting for a go route to get open, never found it. Billy Ray Valentine with the stop, the only top 30 sacker on this Swarm team. They haven't done a whole lot up front this season, but I think they're winning the battle at the line of scrimmage in this one.
Definitely, and Billy Ray Valentine, one of the most prolific defensive linemen that the Atlanta Swarm has. As you mentioned, 26th in the league with sacks with 5, and making an impact on second down there.
3rd and 4, Pierce got it. First down to the Indy 42. That's Ryan Roosevelt. Sometimes you're just the best player on the field. The Ramblers have a first down.
Yeah, and from first look, it didn't look like he catched it. I want to see if he maybe bobbled a little. Now grabbed it, secured it like Colin Pierce planned and drew it out. But great catch there from Ryan Roosevelt, and we've seen it over 100 times this season. I'm just curious to see what it's going to be like at the end of Week 14.
Ramos calls some of those passes that leave the receiver on an island hospital passes. This one nearly an interception, but I'm going to call those heart attack passes tonight, those deep over the middle routes. Atlanta's all over him so far. That one looking for Roosevelt again, but Moose Papineau in the vicinity.
And already has an interception in this game. Moose Papineau all over Colin Pierce and almost has 4 interceptions on the night if that pass was picked off, and it's definitely a pass that Atlanta may have or should have caught there.
Hit Cree in the shoulder. I guess you get a pass deflection for that. He's actually 4th in the SFL with 13 passes defended coming in. He's very good coverage linebacker over the middle. They're starting inside linebacker as that pass is caught by Randy Pierce, and he did scoot ahead for the first down to the Atlanta 48-yard line. Good eyes? Question mark on the official?
I'm not sure about that bit. We could maybe see a challenge flag. It looked like he may have stepped out, but to be able to get a first down for your team, as we're not going to see the challenge there, just a great job from Colin Pierce to Randy Pierce, three-headed Pierce trio living up to the hype tonight.
1st and 10 at the 48. 8:25 to go. Pierce fires it out to Christian, and Christian picks up 3. Indy doing a better job on this drive, staying ahead of the chains. 2nd and 7.
This Atlanta defense, anytime the ball is thrown, the swarm are just swarming to the ball and bringing the ball carrier down as soon as they touch the ball.
2nd and 7. Hand off. Christian Pierce gets 6. 3rd and 1. Not too shabby of a night so far for Christian Pierce. 13 yards on 4 carries. Getting it done.
And Christian Pierce, 3.3 yards per carry on 4 attempts. Better than his season average. And I like that run to make it 3rd and manageable for this Ramblers team.
2 receivers, 1 to either side for Colin Pierce. 3-3 defense. Handoff Christian right up the middle. Got the first down to the Atlanta 34-yard line. Move of the chains again for Indianapolis.
And Indianapolis trying to get Christian Pierce going. When your focus is passing the ball on 3rd and shorts, when the defense is expecting a pass, that's the perfect time for Christian Pierce to move the chains for your team.
8-play, 45-yard drive. 4 for 6 passing. 2 carries, 11 yards. Colin Pierce taking a deep shot. Passes over. Well, I think based on the way the ball landed, it looked like somebody got a hand on it. Rob Hunt was the intended receiver.
And Rob Hunt almost added 6 points to the board for the Ramblers. And I believe a defender did deflect that ball. And because if Colin Pierce was able to connect on that, that was without a doubt a touchdown, Cam.
6:53 to go in the first half. 21-3. Atlanta protecting the lead. This is, whoa, what was that? A 4-yard loss. Colin and Christian not on the same page, and that makes it 3rd and long outside of field goal range. A terrible time for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that call there. You throw the ball 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, puts your running back instantly in a tough position with the cornerback swarming him, and we have a 3rd and long now for Indianapolis.
High snap. Colin Pierce dumps it off. Not a horrible play as it gets him back into field goal range. So Indy Kiefer will kick a 48-yarder, make it a 2-score game with 6 minutes to go in the first half.
And trying to make it 16 for 17 for Top Kiefer after his made field goal earlier tonight. Indianapolis is just trying to take points as Atlanta is giving them, with the hopes of not getting out of hand.
48-yarder for Kiefer. Sneaks across the bar. Kick is good. 21-6 gives the crowd a little bit more something to cheer about. A little stunned by how their team has come out here in the first half, but all things considered, Indianapolis not too far behind.
Yeah, not necessarily too far behind. Still could be a 2-possession game with a touchdown and with 2 touchdowns and an extra point conversion, but you got to make the defensive adjustments against a red-hot Atlanta Swarm offense on Impact Monday.
From 3 yards out, Kyle Finnemore on a return. There's a flag, and maybe this is the refs making up for the missed block in the back on the BDG touchdown. No, it's a face mask on Indy. I stand corrected. I didn't see anything. Get another look at it, perhaps.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing much myself, but obviously the refs have a better viewpoint than we do down on the field, and that's going to be 15 yards extra for Atlanta, Cam.
Some nights we really don't know how obvious it is, but I tend to agree with you. 1st and 10 at the 33. 5:39 to go in the first half. Deep drop back for Dynasty. Hit as he threw. The pass is caught. 7-yard pickup, standing tall in the pocket. Drops it off to Allen. His first catch to bring up a 2nd and 3. That's the 5th different target with a reception.
And I know Brian Dynasty felt the pressure there, knew he had to get rid of the ball, able to help his team gain 7 yards on this drive rather than losing 4 or 5 yards on a sack.
And off to Mitchell O'Brien with his first carry of the night, gets a first down. You know, putting this in bigger picture for Indianapolis, this loss is really problematic. Not only do they fall back of Tulsa and Minnesota in the division, but they also put themselves in the 6-4 wild card group with Louisiana and San Diego. That is on the fringe of missing the playoffs. Every win at this point in the season is crucial. That is almost picked by Chad McDevitt. 4th different Rambler with a pass deflection to set up 2nd down.
And I agree, Cam. Every single win for every team in the league is crucial at this stage in the season. And the way that this season has gone and where every team currently stands, the race to the finish is going to be a tight one. And Indianapolis just trying to hang into this game and increase their playoff chances.
2nd down for Dynasty. Handoff to BDG. That's been the successful side off that left, but BDG wrapped up pretty quickly by Britton the third. 3rd and 8 approaching for Dynasty.
BDG Hollywood still above 10 yards per carry. 8 attempts for 85 yards and a touchdown on the night so far. Indianapolis has to find an answer for him.
Dynasty, 3rd and 8. Back to pass. Corner route. Oh, what a pick! One-handed from Blake Prine. First down at the Indy 31. Chef's kiss from Tyler Falk back at the studios. And, yeah, Indy back in business here.
And what a play from Blake Prine, going up, putting one hand up and coming down with the ball. You got 4 minutes left in the first half. To create a turnover like that is exactly what this Indianapolis Ramblers team needed to try and decrease this deficit headed into halftime.
Both QBs with 3 turnovers in the first half. It's all even. BDG is still the difference maker ultimately. 21-6. 4:05 to go. Pierce looking long this time.
Wow.
Randy Pierce with the connection on the go route to the Atlanta 47. His 2nd catch. Another Rambler first down.
And what athleticism from the tight end to go up and get that ball. That was not an easy catch for Randy Pierce. And with your 2nd catch of the game, that's good for 40 on the season. And to help move the chains in a game like this where your offense has been struggling, that's just a great job from Randy Pierce.
Roosevelt still leads the receiving corps. 4 receptions, 52 yards. This time a check down to Christian Pierce, who was picked up and thrown down by Aquanta Shine, his first tackle of the evening. A 3-yard gain, 3:28 to go. If I was Indy, Paul, I would not want to see the Swarm offense back out there in this half.
No, and if you're Indianapolis, you got 3 minutes left on the clock. You're in Atlanta territory. You just have to chip away as much time as possible to hopefully leave no time on the clock for when Atlanta may or if they get the ball back.
2nd and 7. Again, the flip out to Christian Pierce will pick up 1. Shine with the stop. They've gone to that play a few times on this drive, but they're going to need more than 1 yard on 3rd and 6.
And Aquintus Shine is all over that. Back-to-back tackles, 77 now on the season, and there's a reason why he is a Hall of Fame player, Cam.
2:42 left in the first half. Trying to keep the drive alive. Colin Pierce back to pass, dumps it off, and behind Jeff Bamfield. That is the 7th time Bamfield has been targeted for just 1 catch for 6 yards, and the drive stalls.
Colin Pierce just struggling to find Jeff Banfield. 7 targets and you only have 1 completion. It's definitely something going into halftime that they're going to have to try to get on the same page and finish this game strong.
4th and 6. Punt is away, albeit a low snap. This will bounce at the 9, up in the air to the 6, and stopped at officially the 6-yard line. Dynasty backed up. 1st down.
And for Indy, if you can't put points up on the board, you got to try to win the field position battle, and that's just a great punt from Indianapolis to pin Bryant Dynasty and company on the 6-yard line.
1st and 10 at the 6, 2:28 to go in the first half. Dynasty going to start the drive with a pass. Oh, it's nearly jumped in, taken back the other way by McCray. Oh, danger. That would have totally turned this game on its head. 2nd down.
That would have been the momentum shift that the Ramblers needed. Ernest McCray Sr. almost stealing one from Bryant Dynasty and putting points up, but just couldn't come down with it. But nonetheless, still great defense to get the pass deflection there.
2nd and 10 at the 6. Dynasty going to throw again. And it's hauled in. Oh, he fumbled the ball! Falco had it, lost it. McCray Sr. picks up the fumble, and it'll be Rambler football. That is a legit fumble.
Wow. And Ernest McCray Sr. just couldn't get it done on that last play, but to come up with the ball on a fumble, a rare fumble from Boo Chisholm, to start the Ramblers off with the best field position they've had of the night, this is exactly what Indianapolis needed.
Falco with the fumble. Adam Wiseman, I think, came in at the end of the play and pushed the pile, poked the ball out from Siege. And then McCray Sr. with the fumble recovery makes it 1st and 10 at the Atlanta 25, the 4th turnover of the half for the Swarm. As Pierce goes over the middle to Viper, and Viper is murdered at the 20, at about the 19-yard line. He resurrects, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
And what a hit. I'm shook from that hit. When you're a defenseless receiver going across the middle of the field, these defenders, they're coming for you. And thankful enough, Jay Viper is able to get up after that hit.
After the turnover, you feel like this is kind of touchdown or bust here for the Ramblers. They can't keep kicking field goals against the Swarm team, surely. They would need 7 just to tie the game. Looking for a touchdown here on 2nd down and 10. Bamfield going outside, or check that, Pierce going outside to Bamfield. A 9-yard gain will set up a 3rd and 1 on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Atlanta has been in control almost the entirety of this first half, but Indy is creeping up. You're watching Impact Monday on the SFL YouTube. Crucial 3rd and 1 coming up here. Hand off, Christian Pierce, short.
And we saw that play 2 drives ago on a 3rd and 1 where Christian Pierce easily converted it, but you have 4th and inches here, just wasn't able to convert that 3rd and 1, and it looks like we're going to see the offense coming out on the field.
And I think they may actually go for it here. 1:35 left. Could they leave points on the board? You also can't take your timeouts in with you either. 3-3 look. And season potentially on the line. And they'll take a timeout. Indy does have L.A. next week. That now, no shade on Indianapolis, but that's one of the easier games of the top 12 next week. So maybe they figure, oh, the season's not totally on the line. Take the timeout, take the points, and live to fight another day. But that's got to be pretty disappointing for Indy.
Most definitely, and shout out to the Atlanta Swarm defensive front.
Yeah.
Staying disciplined there, not jumping off sides to give the Ramblers a fresh set of downs and limit them to possibly just 3 points instead of a touchdown.
32-yard field goal for Kiefer, who's been busy tonight. And that is good. He has all 9 of the Indy points, 3 touchdowns to 3 field goals, but the Ramblers have done well to hang around after a really slow start.
Yeah, the Ramblers defense statistically in the lower half of the league in yards and points allowed, but the defense tonight has been playing pretty solid against the Swarm offense. You've created 3 turnovers. You've somewhat kept the offense in check, but when you're only kicking field goals, you can't close the deficit as fast as if you're putting 6 points up with touchdowns.
From the 6, Finnemore makes the man miss, gets it up to the 29-yard line. Coming up on the APM Music halftime report, Tyler Falk, a.k.a. Rice Cake, and Chris Curtis, a.k.a. Rice Beard, will have analysis of Atlanta and Indianapolis. They'll debate whether Atlanta has staying power in the number 1 seed, talk about the week of upsets and their favorites and most importance, all that and more coming up on the APM Music halftime report. $1:13 left for Atlanta to work with. They do have all 3 timeouts. Dynasty going deep. That pass is knocked away. It is prime time outside. Another deflection for Blake. And 2nd and 10 upcoming for the Swarm.
And it was an almost deja vu moment with Blake Prine going up again with one hand. We saw it, I believe, 2 drives ago. Blake Prine with an incredible one-handed interception. Couldn't come down with it on that one, but great defense from Prine.
Dynasty is 11 of 22. Pierce is 16 of 32. Both quarterbacks just 50% in the first half. Falco picks up 7, can't get out of bounds. They'll go no huddle, 1 minute to go. Atlanta staying aggressive, trying to get more points up on the board after they've seen their 21-3 lead whittled down to 12. Dynasty on 3rd down, 50 seconds left. Will fire it out to BDG. Hollywood has to make one miss. He does. BDG down the sideline, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. BDG into field goal range and then shoved out of bounds by Rockefeller. Atlanta looking like they're going to get at least 3 points off this drive.
And that's just a great play from BDG Hollywood, where the Ramblers defense kind of had the Swarm right where they wanted them, but BDG Hollywood making a big-time play and possibly creating an opportunity to put even more points up on the board headed into halftime.
BDG, 45 yards on 3 catches, 85 yards on 8 carries, over 10 yards a touch on the night. This time it only goes for 4. Atlanta calls their first timeout. Plenty of time, 36 seconds remain.
And if you're the Ramblers, you have to either turn the ball over for a 4th time and get the ball for your team for a 4th time, or you have to just limit the yards and force the Swarm into a field goal situation rather than scoring yet another touchdown.
2nd and 6, Dynasty outside, caught by Kyle Finnemore. That's his first grab on 6 targets And that'll set up a 3rd and inches at the 17.
And I like that play call. I like that throw from Bryant Dynasty, throwing it to the outside to hold on to your last 2 timeouts to have enough time to be able to have the opportunity to score again.
Dynasty hits 200 passing yards on the night. 119 of those are from Falco. Dynasty on 3rd and inches. Fires it out to Hollywood, and Hollywood back inside of the 13-yard line. Atlanta has 1 timeout remaining, and this is why you don't give the ball back to Atlanta before the end of the half.
And Atlanta is just taking advantage of all of these opportunities that the Ramblers have given them. And on this drive, you got 28 seconds before halftime with a chance to make it a 28-9 game.
Atlanta gets the ball to start the second half. They could go 2 for 1 here. 28 seconds left. Dynasty fires in zone. Touchdown. It's Falco again. 3 in the first half. 27-9. Remix.
It's Siege Falco and Bryant Dynasty, one of the best duos in the league, is competing with Colin Pierce and Ryan Roosevelt, getting the upper hand in this matchup. That's the 3rd time Dynasty has found Falco for a touchdown, and 131 receiving yards later, Siege Falco has himself a hat trick in the first half.
This has been a statement by Siege Falco to Ryan Roosevelt, who has 52 yards, no touchdowns in the first half, and all Siege is doing is scoring touchdowns tonight. 28-9. Just when it felt like Indianapolis was right back in this thing, Atlanta steps on the throat.
And what a drive that was to be pinned deep, I believe. Just Bryant Dynasty just moving the ball down the field like it's nothing, and this Swarm offense is absolutely rolling tonight.
315 total yards of offense despite 4 turnovers in the first half. Atlanta still up by 19. 20 seconds left for Indy to do something. Rockefeller's been buried.
So far on the season, the Atlanta Swarm only averaging 29.2 points a game. It is 8th in the league, but you already have 28 points in this first half. And for a Ramblers team that's a high-flying offense, when they're shut down the way that Atlanta has done so in the first half, it makes it hard to come back.
Colin Pierce out to Bamfield, pass not totally on target, and that's going to end our first half of play. Atlanta up on Indy 28-9. The number 1 seed in the SFL right now is the only team at the top playing like it here in this first half. 28-9, Atlanta on top of Indianapolis. Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk have your halftime report right now coming up.
Welcome into the SFL HQ. This is Chris Curtis alongside Tyler Falk. We have ourselves a bit of a weird game, Tyler. It is 28-9, 7 turnovers total in the first half, a fumble and 6 interceptions among both quarterbacks, and Atlanta still with a lopsided lead on the road as the number 1 seed. Tell me what you saw.
Well, what we didn't see is the consistency from Colin Pierce like we've seen majority of this season in their 6 victories. But it's been these 3 losses where we've seen Pierce struggle. We've seen him, especially tonight, just barely over 50% completion percentage for the longest time, sitting right around 20% completion percentage. Just not at all comfortable tonight. That's a credit to Atlanta's front 4. And protecting the deep routes. They figured out what Indy was trying to do. Indy has yet to really adapt too much to what Atlanta is containing because they know what a deep threat that Banfield and Roosevelt possess. That's exactly what they're doing, and they've done a good job. Fletcher, Miraculous, Papineau, all taking away the football and controlling their side of the football game, and the offense doing their part. BDG already close to 100 yards on the ground, and Bryant Dynasty already close to 250, which I said way back in the early part of this season, partner, that all you need is 250 yards and about 100 yards rushing, and you've got yourself a pretty good game plan, and they've got that almost coming into the second half.
A pass-heavy first half as well. You have 26 attempts from Bryant Dynasty. You have 33 from Colin Pierce, and that's through 2 quarters of play. Both quarterbacks averaging only about 53% completion between the two of them, and that speaks more or less to the secondaries. Do you see either of these teams, before we move on, getting the running game more involved, maybe to slow the pace down?
We'll probably see Atlanta definitely imply BDG services a little bit more. I think the way he's going and the way that Indianapolis has yet to really curtail his production, we'll see BDG get close to 150 yards tonight, whereas Christian Pierce, not even 20 yards. I think he gets to maybe 50, but the way that Indianapolis is down right now, they're going to try and continue to air out the football. Colin's going to probably get close to 60, 65 passing attempts by the end of the night tonight. BDG will definitely win out in the halfback duel tonight.
Lots more to come in regard to Indianapolis, but let's focus on Atlanta for a second. They take over through the weekend. They take over the number 1 seed thanks to Baltimore's loss to Carolina, as well as numerous other dominoes falling that we'll talk about in a second. But Atlanta back in the top spot in the league standings. They have a chance to keep that. What is their staying power as you project it for the rest of the season?
Here's a hot take. I've got some pretty good hot takes. Even though I like Atlanta's production, around 100 yards rushing, around 250 yards average passing, I don't think so. They may, depending on what happens throughout the rest of the season, I think Atlanta has a good shot to go in 11-1, close out the regular season. But look at who they've played. The only team, or one of the only teams that's above 500 on their record, I should say the only team with more than 6 wins or that on their record coming into the weekend, was Minnesota. That's the only team that's the one team they lost to in their 9 games before this weekend. Now they've had some good wins on the road versus Louisiana in a tight ball game that was, but that's pretty much the highlight of the season is beating Louisiana in Louisiana. Besides that, not really able to do much against Minnesota. They'll be happy to be at home where they're unbeaten this season. But I still think Baltimore, I still think Arizona still have a shot of knocking Atlanta off today. If you were to look at today's game, and if you've only watched today's game and see how dominant Atlanta is tonight, you think, oh, this team is for sure number 1 contender, and rightly so. You got to play your regular season before you get the postseason. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to keep a hold of number 1 spot throughout the entirety of the playoffs.
Don't discredit what they did against Vancouver as well early on in their season. But yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think Atlanta has a lot to prove yet to stay at the top. Week 12 was a wild one as far as the amount of upsets. I count 4 of them. And I want to know what your favorite upset was. You have plenty of choices. Obviously, Carolina, Baltimore. You have Denver, Vegas. You have Seattle, Tulsa. And then there are more. What are your thoughts on your favorite upset before we get to the second question?
Favorite upset of the weekend, definitely Denver over Las Vegas and Vice Wars. Definitely the two shocking ones in Carolina dethroning Baltimore for a week, and of course Seattle taking down Tulsa. But the funnest one to watch, of course, of the 3 was Vice Wars, a overtime winner, a crucial sack in overtime, helping set up the game-winning drive for Denver for a walk-off field goal. What a good game to watch. But the most important upset to me was Houston over London. First 6 games for Houston, they were 1-5, pretty much needing to win out to maybe catch the last wild card spot. They have now won 5 straight, and taking down London this past week. They're back over 500 for the first time all season, and they play Alamo City, who they already have a head-to-head win against this season. They can take down Alamo City again. Houston are set up to maybe just sneak in the playoffs from almost being completely dead in the water.
I can hear Damon Simeon grinning from ear to ear in our stats truck right now. This is fantastic work. But a lot of football left. Still 2 weeks of games to go before we determine that. But there is also a lot of football left in Indianapolis. Atlanta, right now, they have the dominant footing and they have the football going up against the Snakes at the Snake Pit. But the Ramblers may still have something to say. Second half of football up next. This has been your APM Music Halftime Report. It is Cam and Paul on the other side. Stay with us.
Tyler hacked my system. Start of the second half, 28-9. Atlanta leads Indianapolis, and they get the ball back. Paul Sarp, Cameron Irvine with you, Damon Simeon, Jack Brown holding things down in our stat truck tonight. Doing a great job with these statistics. Paul, now that you've had a chance to digest the first half, where do we go from here?
If you're Atlanta, you have essentially total control of this game, and you just kind of have to let time do its thing. But if you're Indianapolis, as you mentioned earlier, it could be a season determining game here. But if you're Indianapolis, you just have to inch your way to the end zone drive after drive and try to get back into this game.
Inch. How about 14 yards to Siege Falco? 8 catches, 136 yards now. And just keep on trucking.
And coming into this game, Ryan Roosevelt, the #1 receiver, Siege Falco may have taken that a little personally and is absolutely showing out tonight with his eighth reception of the game on 10 targets. He already has 3 touchdowns, already nearing 150 receiving yards. Just there's no answer for Falco tonight.
Dynasty Wobbler is incomplete. Had pressure up front. That was Jenko applying the pressure. So 2nd and 10 off the incomplete pass. Dynasty now 16 of 28. Pierce 17 of 33.
And as you mentioned, Colin Pierce not having the game that he was expecting. It's just this Atlanta Swarm defense is playing great, and the offense is just capitalizing on it almost every drive.
Dynasty's pass caught by Wooding. It's an 11-yard pickup to the Indy 49.
That's Jamal Wooding's 2nd reception in this game, both for first downs. And this drive is just going to continue for the Swarm. And the Ramblers are itching for a turnover or just itching for a stop and getting this offense off the field.
A minute into the second half, and there goes BDG off that left side again. First down to the Rambler 36-yard line. Rockefeller cleans up the mess at the end of the play. All systems go for the boys in blue.
And what interests me is BDG Hollywood, his numbers. They're in the top 10, but every time I watch BDG Hollywood play, he seems to be the most dangerous player I've ever seen on the outside of the field, and he just makes defenders miss like it's absolutely nothing.
It's almost like some nights he just kind of takes off, and when he's asked to handle the load for the team, there's nobody more dangerous to do that. Wiseman makes the stop, no gain.
That's a great stop on first down. The Atlanta Swarm have been winning 2nd and 3rd downs all night, and if you're the Ramblers defense, you just have to win the battle against this Swarm offense on 2nd and 3rd down to even have a chance at winning this game.
3-3 look, 2 safeties high, handoff to BDG, right side. Gets 5. You know what they say, Paul? Two safeties high, you run it, and gets half of what Atlanta needs.
And so far tonight, Atlanta's been pretty solid on third downs. Right now, 3 for 6, where Indianapolis is just 3 for 10.
Dynasty, no one open. Hit as he threw, and Boo was out of bounds. Boo was standing out of bounds when that throw went over to him. That may be a loss of down, perhaps? Or are they going to decline it? So, okay, this is interesting. Ramblers decline, but if they decline, are they calling that a catch? What do we got here? Are they in field goal range? Now Indy. So they called it a catch, which is absurd because the penalty was for Boo Chisholm standing out of bounds. So how does that make any sense?
Oh boy!
If Indy doesn't win this challenge, I don't know what winning a challenge is. So he steps out.
He definitely was out of bounds.
Was he out when he caught it, though? This is bizarre on a whole nother level. And it stands! And Indy's going to lose a timeout, but they don't get to go back and accept the penalty. So now it's 4th down, but in Sammy Steele field goal range, and they're going to get to kick a field goal.
And I'm just as flabbergasted as you, Cam, and to give the Swarm a chance to get 3 points, just unfortunate for the Ramblers to decline the penalty and then lose a timeout as well.
Almost blocked, and then to avoid another penalty, it almost looked like whoever that was back there, it almost looked like they didn't want to get called for another flag and just kind of stood up and stopped. Let's see what that was all about. That was number 46 in the backfield. Kick is good. We'll try to sort this out. 31-9 Atlanta.
Sammy Steele helping Atlanta hit the 30-point mark. Currently have 31 points and taking a strong lead in the second half and making it even more difficult for the Ramblers.
Rockefeller breaks a tackle. Kanye Rockefeller gets out of another one. He's good again. Touchdown number 4. Returning kicks and ending right back in the game. Oh, this guy's been a genius this season.
And
ball don't lie, Paul. Ball
don't lie. And Kanye Rockefeller with his 4th of the season. This special teams coach in Indianapolis has helped turn Kanye Rockefeller into an absolute stud returning kicks with his 5th special teams touchdown on the season, just having an absolutely incredible performance this season.
So just to put a bow on the play previously, so Indy accepts the penalty because it forces Atlanta into a 4th down. And then what they tried to do was get the best of both worlds, right, Paul? They tried to get him on 4th down, but then also get him on 4th down further backed up. They failed in doing that, and by failing to do that, Atlanta ended up remaining in field goal range. But either way, in that situation, you want to push them back out of field goal range, make them run another play. But at the end of the day, Atlanta only gets 3 points out of the drive. If you accept that penalty and they convert 3rd down, this may be a 38-9 or a 35-9 game. Instead, it's a 31-16 game as they get the ball back in the hands of Rockefeller. Finnemore returns it to the 26, and Indy ends up playing that beautifully.
Yeah, and we were both confused on the thought process, but hey, all things come full circle, and Kanye Rockefeller just having an absolutely incredible season and gives Indy a little bit more hope to possibly come back and maybe take this game away from Atlanta.
31-16. Handoff, BDG spins outside. BDG wrestled down by his ankles at the 44, up to $120 on the ground, and Atlanta putting Indianapolis back into reality.
And BDG Hollywood should have been down for only like a 4 or 5 yard gain, but that spin move making the defender miss, and just an incredible performance is what we've seen so far out of BDG Hollywood.
It's incredible Indies in this game, Paul. I mean, it's wild. Atlanta has seemingly dominated this game. It's felt like they've dominated the game. They've had momentum basically from the word go, but they just can't seem to shake the Ramblers, and that's what has made Indianapolis such a difficult team to put away this season. They are so familiar to being in close contests. Hollywood picks up one.
And going back to that Kanye Rockefeller kick return touchdown, I'll tell you what, no one man should have all that power on special teams, Cam.
Oh, but he does. He certainly does. Dynasty's pass is caught by Falco. Going back to the one-score game conversations, Indianapolis has had 21 games in their franchise history. 12 have been decided by one score as Falco continues to chew up yardage.
And in the battle of number 17s, Siege Falco increasing and just owning the performance so far. Ryan Roosevelt has been essentially non-existent minus his 5 catches that he's had.
6:40 to go in the third. Dynasty's pass is caught by Finnemore. Ray in the chat, Rochelle Colston, $5 super chat. Smash that like button, folks. Please do so. It helps out the channel and the algorithm and all that stuff. Atlanta will be happy just to be home next week, Paul. This is the third of 3 straight road games, 4 of their last 5 on the road. They haven't been back at the Hive since week 8.
Yeah, definitely something that they are looking forward to.
Dynasty hit. Falco was the target, so 9 for 11 tonight. Huge third down coming up here. This is where Atlanta's owned the Ramblers throughout the night, just on the fringe of field goal range.
And it is pretty close to in field goal range. I believe that is in the range of Sammy Steele. And 3rd and 4 is crucial here for the Ramblers.
3 receivers, 2 to Dynasty's left. They run that way to Hollywood. Hollywood gets a little closer. And believe it or not, Paul, this is exactly where their last drive ended. 2 yards away from the first down marker at the 31.
And I know that the Ramblers defense, they have to play desperately here and avoid touchdowns at all costs. I know they don't want to let the Swarm put 3 more points up, but I'm sure they will consider that a win in back-to-back drives.
48-yarder, Sammy Steele again. Oh, he missed it!
No good.
He missed it! Wide right! I'm stunned.
And that's Sammy Steele's 3rd miss on the season. Going to be 18 for 21. And this is exactly what the Ramblers need. After a kick return for a touchdown, you force the Swarm into a field goal opportunity and they miss. This is exactly how the Ramblers needed it to happen for an opportunity to get back in this game.
5:37 to go in the third, and Indy's got the ball just down 2 touchdowns. Pierce's pass is caught. First down to the Atlanta 46. Jay Viper finally getting on the board into Atlanta territory.
Jay Viper having an impressive season. That's his 40th catch on the season. And also last week had a substantial game, showing out 9 receptions for 129 yards and a touchdown, but just couldn't get on the board until the second half. So Pierce is going to have to find him a bit more.
Pierce hits Christian for no gain on the outside. Shine with his 3rd stop. He's been essentially manning the sidelines here tonight. 5 to go in the third, 2nd down.
And if I'm Colin Pierce here, I got to go back to the bread and butter and try to find Ryan Roosevelt on a deep route, maybe take a deep shot. But the Swarm defense has been all over the deep passes from Colin Pierce.
Colin Pierce changing the play at the line and is going to be sacked. Mickey Gibson with the takedown, a loss of 3, 3rd and long for the Ramblers, who are trying so desperately to get some more points off of the rare miss from Steele.
That's just a great job from Mickey Gibson, beating the tackle there on the outside and bringing Colin Pierce down for Mickey Gibson's 2nd sack on the season.
4:18 to go in the 3rd. Pierce will go empty 5 wide. Dime look for Atlanta's defense. Colin Pierce airing it out. Pass is caught by Bamfield. First down to the Atlanta 25-yard line. Chris Henry with the tackle. The passing offense of Indy revving up.
And that was just a beautiful pass from Colin Pierce, putting all of his faith into his receiver in the middle of the field on a 3rd and 13. To be able to convert that when the Ramblers have been struggling so far to this point in the game, that is a huge win for Indianapolis on this drive, and it's looking like momentum's starting to shift towards the Ramblers' way.
A QBR of 28.9, but Colin Pierce staying steady here to start the 3rd quarter. Pierce's pass is caught. First down, Randy Pierce to the Atlanta 12-yard line. His 3rd grab, another Indy first down.
And it is a whole family outing here tonight for the Pierces, and they are all making an impact in this game and on this drive specifically.
Pierce 3 for 3 for 52 yards on the drive so far. 2 receivers, top of the screen, 1 to the bottom. Handoff, Christian Pierce and Shine almost there immediately. A 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9 with 3 minutes to go.
There's still so much time left in this ball game, and for Indianapolis, you just gotta play slow and steady and take advantage of the opportunities that have been created for you.
Handoff, Christian Pierce breaks through a tackle. 23 on 23 crime there. Moves Papineau with the stop. 3rd and 6 for Indy. 4 of 11 on 3rd down, but 1 for 1 here in the 3rd quarter.
And just 3 plays ago, you were able to convert 3rd and 13. You're in the red zone now with a 3rd and 6 opportunity.
Colin Pierce back in the end zone. Tipped, incomplete. Looking for Ryan Roosevelt. Miraculous on the coverage, and I think Indy's offense is going to have to settle for another field goal.
Hey, you just got to take the points as they're coming to you, and you have to rely on your defense to try to stop this Atlanta Swarm offense with 4 touchdowns on the day. They've stepped up after halftime, but they got to just lock in and stay within the game to make this a closer game.
Tops hit field goals from 36 yards, 47 yards, 32 yards, and now 24 yards. That kick is good. 31-19. Don't often see that score. 50 is your current total. 60.5 was the over-under. Atlanta is covering. According to Jack's data, 6.5-point favorites tonight.
And a huge credit to the Ramblers. After a missed field goal from Sammy Steele, to be able to put 3 points on the scoreboard and decrease this deficit, they just have to keep inching towards the Swarm to try to win this game.
24 drives in 31 minutes tonight. Atlanta dominating statistically, 402 to 216 in yardage, averaging nearly 8 yards a play. Yet, the Ramblers are still fighting. Atlanta will go heavy here. Dynasty with Hollywood in the backfield along with O'Brien. They'll run it to Hollywood. O'Brien picks up the block. Hollywood does the rest. Dragged down by Wiseman after an 8-yard gain. Still averaging 10 yards a clip.
And just doing as he pleases so far in this game against the Ramblers defense. In the first half, he was the first touchdown of the game, made a splash play early to give the Swarm a 7-0 lead, and has just been running nonstop over the Ramblers.
And off Hollywood, he's going to be dropped for a loss. Indianapolis quickly into the backfield. Mac Dre with his first tackle of the evening. Jabril Curse was also in there. 3rd and 4 for Atlanta. Just to keep it in perspective, Hollywood 9.6 yards per run. Dynasty 7.8 yards per attempt. 3rd and 4. Crowd on their feet. They recognize the importance of this situation, and Finnemore recognizes the importance of reps on the spot route. Well done. First down to the 40.
And that's just a great play call from the Atlanta Swarm offensive coordinator, Mark Chisholm, and to be able to continue this drive and take more time off of the clock eliminates the chance for Indianapolis to have enough time to fight back into this game.
First down for the Swarm, and Indy jumps offside. This is out to the second tight end on the team, and I want to point out, Paul, that Indy's running out of time to win the game with field goals. Until their offense can produce a touchdown, as Show Nuff had that last reception, but until their offense can produce a touchdown, it just doesn't feel like they have enough in this game tonight, even though it's only a 12-point game.
Yeah, definitely a strange game. At this point in the game, for it to only be a 12-point game is huge, because the Atlanta Swarm have just looked to be the better team, but Indianapolis is slowly trying to get back into it.
2nd and 2 of the 48. Handoff Hollywood. Hollywood's got plenty of space. Cuts it back into the hash marks to the Indy 46. 136 on 15 carries, so his average is slowing down, but still the dominant force tonight. Final play of the 3rd quarter likely coming up.
And last week, BDG Hollywood only 54 yards rushing, having a much better game tonight.
Dynasty also have turned in a pretty decent night despite the 3 interceptions. 22 of 35. There he goes again off the left side. 25-20, 15 down to the 13-yard line. It's been the same note all night for Atlanta, and they are crushing it. First down to the Indy 13.
And when you have the blocking set up for you, BDG Hollywood can just run freely. So huge credit to that left side, Carter Hollywood and Sam Falco sealing the deal for Hollywood there.
That's the end of the 3rd. Question about playoffs in the chat. We'll get to it on the other side. Atlanta 31, Indy 19. The Swarm still flexing. Be right back.
Presentation of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Atlanta putting together a championship caliber drive, answering another Indianapolis field goal. 1st and 10 at the Rambler 13. Finnemore with another spot route, hits down to the 8-yard line.
And the Swarm are just inching towards this goal line here. When you're in the 4th quarter, it's a 12-point game. To make it a 19-point game is definitely a tough task for Indianapolis when they've only put 19 points up through 3 quarters of play.
7 plays, 64-yard drive. Dynasty going to the end zone, nearly intercepted, looking for Finnemore. That may have been Indianapolis' opportunity. Chad McDevitt with his 2nd pass deflection of the night to go along with 6 total tackles. Another 3rd down for Atlanta.
And that definitely is one that Chad McDevitt may have wanted to get back. Put his hand up in front of the safety. I believe it was Brian James, with the safety taking a chance away for him to intercept it. But that's just good coverage there by the Ramblers, and they have to win this 3rd down and force a field goal.
Falco has 3 touchdowns tonight. Watch him at the bottom of the screen here. 3rd and 5 at the 8. Dynasty going opposite direction. Pass is picked off in the end zone. Intercepted. They keep him off the board. It's prime time once again. 2 picks.
Blake Pride, instead of holding them to a field goal, how about a turnover? That's just incredible coverage by Prime there. Maybe a questionable call. If you're Atlanta, you don't need to throw the ball there. You could have just ran it and then kicked the field goal if you didn't convert. But Blake Prime creating their second turnover for the Ramblers, and the Ramblers are in prime spot to get back and decrease this deficit.
Colin Pierce, 1st and 10 at the 20. Out to Jeff Banfield, first down to the 32. Back to the playoff question about where Indy would fall if they lost. They would fall behind London and Vancouver, who are 2 division leaders / winners right now. So Indy would be down in the 11-12 spot with Louisiana and San Diego. One of those teams would be on the outside. That would still likely be San Diego, and then Indy and Louisiana would be slotted somewhere in that 11-12 zone. It would put Indy in a very precarious position as Colin Pierce flips it out to Christian Pierce. Has a lot of space, actually. Christian Pierce just 3 yards on 4 catches so far tonight, but he moves the chains. First down to the Indy 43.
Christian Pierce with his longest play of the game. To be able to get a new set of downs for your team is exactly why that play was called. And Christian Pierce helping the Ramblers offense roll.
9:28 to go in the 4th. Indy has time. They just need more points as Christian Pierce picks up 7. And an unlikely savior, perhaps, developing for Indianapolis. Christian Pierce having himself a drive.
Yeah, when you're a pass-heavy team and your ticket is not always called in every game as much as other running backs in this league, Christian Pierce just making the most of his opportunities, and he's showing out on this drive.
Ryan Roosevelt does not have a catch in the second half. 4 catches, 52 yards. There's Christian Pierce again. First down to the 44-yard line of Atlanta. Going away from Roosevelt, and Christian Pierce with another Indianapolis first down.
Back-to-back first downs for Christian Pierce on this drive after getting the ball 3 consecutive times. As you mentioned, Ryan Roosevelt extremely quiet here in the second half, but Christian Pierce helping his team out tremendously on this drive.
Handoff, Christian Pierce. Pierce picks up 5 again. You know, Indy can take their time. They're essentially shortening this game right now, which works to their favor. Absolutely. As long as they can finally punch in a touchdown, because another field goal just keeps it a 2-score game.
Yeah, after 4 field goals in this game, you need a touchdown here. Field goals aren't going to get you back in this game. They'll maybe keep you in it, but you got to score a touchdown on this drive.
Colin Pierce out to Banfield. He tapped the football. It looked like it was ahead of the first down marker. It's marked short. Remember, Indy has already failed on a challenge earlier, which was totally ridiculous because you can't be the first player to touch the ball out of bounds. No challenge here, 3rd and short.
Yeah, after losing that first one, that is a challengeable play there, but after you lost the first one, it makes it so hard to want to use your second challenge.
I wouldn't have much faith in the system either. 3rd and inches at the Atlanta 34. Christian Pierce got the first down to the 28. Another 6-yard pickup. First down to the Atlanta 28.
And Christian Pierce having himself a drive. I believe he has more drives on this drive alone than he has through 3 quarters, Cam.
Pierce, 353 yards this season. Pierce is going to be sacked. Drop from behind, impossible to see. Leo with the takedown, his 3rd of the season.
An incredible job from Leo Jefferson. We saw him earlier in the broadcast making an impact. Definitely making an impact there on first down for this swarm defense, forcing the Ramblers to 2nd and 13.
This is gut check time, Paul. They need a touchdown in the next minute, 35 seconds to give themselves a realistic shot at what would be a dramatic comeback, and Roosevelt's attempted catch is out of bounds, so he's still catchless here in the second half. 3rd and 13. This could be the biggest play of the whole game.
Most definitely, and We saw on Indianapolis's last drive, they converted a big 3rd and 13 in similar territory. Let's see if they can do it again.
Gun for Colin Pierce. Needs his best throw of the night here. He's 24 for 42. Pierce to throw. Pierce almost hit as he threw, nearly intercepted. The pressure caused that incompletion. The only good news for Indy is that there's still 6:16 left, and Top's going to have to kick it again. I mean, you have to take the points, even though as painful as it is, you got to do it.
Most definitely, and incredible coverage there from Grant Hardaway in his 2nd season, with his 9th pass deflected on the season, and it has came at a crucial time for Atlanta, but an unfortunate time and result for Indianapolis.
It's worth noting Sammy Steele missed a field goal from this hash mark wide right from this exact distance in the 3rd quarter. 48-yarder for Top Kiefer, and the kick is good. It was right, but it did stay true. 31-22. Top is now the 2nd kicker this week to kick 5 field goals in a game. Ethan Sneed have 5 field goals for the Storm, who won 22-17 over LA.
Top Kiefer having an incredible game. Very accurate kicker, and to help put 15 points up on the board for your team, you're still down 9 points, but Top Kiefer trying to help keep them in this game.
Make this box score make sense. 200 more yards for Atlanta tonight. 5 turnovers has been key, but Indy's had 3 themselves. Atlanta is still averaging 7.5 yards per play, and it's a 9-point game.
All it takes for overtime, Cam, is just 3 more Top Kiefer field goals, and we might be looking at some extra time.
In 6:08, that would be nuts. He only had 14 makes on the season before tonight, 5 here this evening. 1st and 10 at the Atlanta 26. Dynasty fires it outside to Boo, and that is caught for a 9-yard gain. There's the updated quarterback numbers. Dynasty, all things considered, a pretty good evening here on the road in hostile territory.
Yeah, a couple miscues from Dynasty, a couple turnovers and interceptions thrown, but for an extremely accurate passer, he's been playing pretty solid tonight.
Well, we asked in pregame, was Indy the real deal? Could they answer the bell? You know, this would be their toughest test easily of the season, as Dynasty's pass is caught by Falco, maybe outside of that Minnesota rivalry game. But I would say they've answered the bell. It just may not be enough tonight, because they could have easily folded up shop. They were down 21-3, but they've found a way to stay in it all night long.
And that catch by Siege Falco, very nice catch, getting both feet down in bounds for his 10th reception and 167th yard gained on the night.
5.5 to go. Handoff to BDG. Hollywood will get 3. But more importantly, keep that clock moving. Bryant James with the stop.
And after a hot start for Bryant James, kind of cooled off here in the 2nd half, but had created an early turnover for his team that the Ramblers just couldn't capitalize on.
Damon, Simeon, Jack Brown in our stat truck. Tyler Falk, Chris Curtis back in our studios to wrap this one up tonight. He's Paul Sarp. I'm Cameron Irvine, and Bryant Dynasty's pass is incomplete. It's now 3rd and 7. Stops the clock with 4:59 to go. Pass intended for Falco. He had caught 9 of his first 10. He has caught 1 of his last 4.
And that chance that the Ramblers just had there in what should have been the 5th interception for them, just unfortunately for the Ramblers, was dropped.
Trips right. Handoff. BDG's dropped. A 1-yard loss. And Atlanta's probably saying, oh, now we run it. Wiseman with the tackle. It's 4th down. Indy's going to get the ball.
Yeah, absolutely an interesting play call there. They may just be trying to dwindle the time clock down, but on a 4th and long to run it there is just a questionable decision.
See if Indy brings any kind of pressure on this. They do tick the clock all the way down to their credit. Down to 4:18 to go. Indy backs up and plays coverage for Rockefeller. Already has a kick return. He's going to have some space here. Kanye will get out to the 29-yard line. Boy, wouldn't that have been something if he would have totally replicated the Vancouver game. 4:10 left.
And I'm sure every time that Kanye Rockefeller touches the ball, whoever's lined up against them, their key component is to bring him down. We saw it earlier in the game. He took a kick return back for a touchdown. Definitely someone to watch on punts as well.
Shotgun 5 wide for Colin Pierce. To start the drive, deep shot to Roosevelt. It's caught! Roosevelt down the sideline, 30, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Indy! Touchdown, Indy! Oh, my goodness. Their first of the night. It is a 3-point game.
And Ryan Roosevelt, no catches in the second half. Absolutely exploding there. Beating his defender and breaking a tackle there inside the 5-yard line and walking into the end zone to make this a 3-point game.
Miraculous, just way just undercut the route severely on that one. And everyone will say, well, Roosevelt had a pretty good night, 123 yards and a touchdown. As all that Atlanta effort wipes it away. Now it's a 2-point game, extra point pending, Paul, and they can kick it deep. Unbelievable. Extra point is good. It pays to be patient.
And Indianapolis's game plan that we've seen is they've just been taking their points as they come to them. And after 5 field goals, kick return touchdown, you finally score on offense at the most crucial point in this game to make it a 1-possession game. And it proves why you should never give up until the clock reads 0, Cam.
Roosevelt gets to 123, but I tell you what set that touchdown up is Finnemore will return it out from his own 2-yard line up to the 26. What set up Ryan Roosevelt was Christian Pierce on the previous drive. He made Atlanta think about defending somebody else, and then they attacked. Pierce has 61 all-purpose yards tonight, Paul. That's second most on the team behind Roosevelt.
Yeah, and that last drive from Christian Pierce, just when you get the running game going, it just opens up chances like that to take the deep shot to your number 1 receiver.
Mitchell O'Brien with the carry, his second of the night, picks up another 4 yards. Paul, if Atlanta were to lose this game, first place and 14th place would be separated by 2 games.
Wow.
If they win, they can clear the bar, right, and stay out ahead of the pack. It would be huge. They got to hold on here.
Most definitely have to hold on if they want that number 1 seed come that postseason.
2nd and 6 at the 30. Atlanta burning clock. Indianapolis has 2 timeouts, remember, because of the failed Bizarro challenge. BDG no gain on the play. 3rd and 6 again. I doubt they run it again. Never know.
Yeah, and as we saw last drive in a almost identical position, it was 3rd and 7 and they chose to run.
What are they going to do here? Hollywood's still averaging 8.7 yards per attempt. 3rd and 6 at the 30. Down to 2:48 to go. They're bleeding clock. They're going to run again. Handoff Hollywood. He got the first down.
He got it.
Hollywood to the 37-yard line. That's why you put it on his back. And Atlanta puts Indy in a more precarious situation.
Yeah, definitely a tough spot for Indy to be in, only having 2 timeouts. But what a great run from BDG Hollywood. And this drive, I actually like the run call. Not that it succeeded, but to be able to force the 2-minute warning and Indianapolis only having 2 timeouts, but to be able to convert it is just huge for the Swarm.
Look at the over-under, 60.5. We are at 60 with 2:13 to go. A stellar job by Jack Stata once again. Handoff to Hollywood running left. He's wrapped up for a 1-yard loss, but he'll get reprieve as we hit the 2-minute warning. Indy's got 2 timeouts. Atlanta's got 2 downs before they'd have to punt it away. Could Top win it? Could BDG ice it? Impact Monday's gotten good in the late stages on SFL YouTube. Here it goes. Wins are tough, no matter how you slice it in the SFL. Atlanta's trying to get their 9th. A total turnaround from last season. Handoff on a counter to BDG. Haven't seen that much at all tonight. Picks up 3. Indy calls a timeout. This is someone's moment to make an impact.
Most definitely, and that 2-minute warning was huge for Indianapolis after losing a timeout after a failed challenge. To be able to get that 2-minute warning and forcing the Swarm into a play before it has created an opportunity for them to try and come back and do the unthinkable against the Atlanta Swarm.
3rd and 8 at the 39. 4 wide. Dynasty going to throw for it. Dynasty's pass is incomplete. They threw slants and it's knocked away. It stops the clock and Indy gets the ball back.
An absolutely huge pass deflection there to be able to stop the clock and save your last timeout. To give Colin Pierce the ball back with a timeout is crucial for them. And all they need is 3, Cam. A field goal wins it. They don't need to score a touchdown. All they need is 3.
This has been just a meltdown here for Atlanta in the 4th quarter.
Look
Rockefeller
out.
from the 22. Oh, can't get away. Boy, Atlanta, Moose Papineau cleans it up. And the Ramblers will have the ball with 1 timeout on the 24. 1:45 to go. Someone double number 17.
Wow, what a game this has turned out to be. And I'll tell you one thing, I am absolutely strapped in to my seat. Can't wait to see how this game is finishing.
3 receivers to the top of the screen, 1:45 to go in the 4th. Colin Pierce looking, finds Jay Viper, caught, 1st down to the 36-yard line. No huddle, here we go. Same formation. Pierce, wide open, Banfield. 45 breaks a tackle.
broke it.
Banfield gets out of bounds to the Atlanta 44. They are 10 yards away from winning the game.
What a catch and run from Jeff Banfield there, stepping up in the second half and giving the Ramblers a chance to get into field goal range and kick a game-winning field goal.
Down 21-3 in the 2nd quarter, had not scored an offensive touchdown until about 10 minutes ago. If Indy does this, the top 5 teams in the standings coming into the week will all have lost and sent the SFL playoff picture into pure chaos, but also send Baltimore back up to the number 1 seed when it's all said and done. If they can't hold on, that pass is incomplete. Chris Henry in coverage. Atlanta, they just need 1 play, Paul. They just need 1. That's it, and it's game over. Just need 1.
Yeah, one bad decision from Colin Pierce could lead to a turnover and the dagger for this game, but it's only 2nd and 10. There's a minute 23 on the clock. Let's see how Colin Pierce is going to respond.
1:23 left, 2nd and 10. Pierce looking down the middle. It's
Got
caught
it.
by Roosevelt at the 23. They can win it.
And they have a timeout. So Indianapolis is just looking to kill this clock, send it to the final play. And if they don't score here, if they
How
don't
does that
create a
happen?
turnover, you got to rely on the kicker here.
How
Wow.
does that happen? 55 seconds left. At this point, I just run it to Christian, who's been great tonight. 50 seconds left. They're going to throw. Colin outside, hits Christian Pierce, and he picks up 3 to the 21, and Atlanta calls a timeout. They want the ball back.
Yeah, at this point, you got to call a timeout if you're Atlanta to maybe force getting the ball back and put the ball into the hands of your franchise quarterback, Brian Dynasty.
An Indy 1st down puts Top Kiefer on the field to win it. 2nd and 7. Colin Pierce still throwing. They stick to their identity. Out to Christian Pierce. He picks up 2. Atlanta burns the timeout. They have 1 left. 3rd and 5 for Indy. And the perfect situation for Indy would be to get a first down, but not a touchdown. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. A first down is crucial. If Atlanta can get a stop here and force a field goal, that's going to give them the ball with a little over 35 seconds left. 35 seconds, and that is more than enough time for the Swarm to possibly score themselves.
Pierce started 2 for 10. He's now 30 for 50, 359 yards. 3rd and 5. They go empty, 5 wide with 42 seconds left. Colin Pierce looking to the end zone. The pass is incomplete, almost intercepted. It would have won the game. Jack Napier, who was the hero in Atlanta's big comeback on the road in Louisiana, can't haul it in. That means Top will come out to give him the lead, but Atlanta's going to get the ball back with 1 timeout.
And Top Kiefer in his rookie season, not sure if he's felt this pressure before, but let's see how he responds after kicking 5 in this game so far.
To go 6 for 6 on the night and give Indy their first lead of the ball game. Top Kiefer got it. 32-31, Ramblers on top.
Wow.
Hit the over.
The over did hit there, Cam, and being down 21-3 just shows how much fight that this Indianapolis Ramblers team has in them. And in the first point in this game, with 34 seconds left in the 4th quarter, to take the lead for the first time is just an incredible game that we are witnessing.
Kyle Fenimore is your returner. He does not have a kick or a punt return this season. From the 6 on the return. Fenimore sidesteps out of the 27. No flags. 30 seconds left. 1 timeout for Atlanta. All they need is a field goal. Steele has missed 1 earlier tonight from 48. 1 of 2 on the evening. Back in the hands of Bryant Dynasty.
And Atlanta's timeout is crucial for them right now. They only need 40, 50 yards to get into field goal range, and how they use this timeout is going to be crucial.
30 seconds left for Dynasty. Out of the shotgun, Dynasty fires over the middle of Falco. Caught the Atlanta 39-yard line. They're going to run out of time if they do too much more of this. That's why Dynasty's going to get up and spike the football down to 18. 18 seconds is where they stop it. And he needs something, I think, maybe on the next play here, Paul, if they want a chance or a better chance.
Absolutely. And after the game that Siege Falco has had, 179 yards, 11 receptions, you got to go back to Siege Falco here.
Bottom of your screen. Indy in a zone. 3-2 look. 18 seconds left. 2nd down and 10. Atlanta going long. Passes caught by Falco at the 37-yard line, 38-yard line. They're going to save their timeout and bring out Steele for a 55-yarder to win the game.
Oh, my, Cam. What a finish we have in store here. All down to the last play.
Sammy Steele will have the moment in the sun here from 55 yards away. The postseason for so many teams hangs in the balance here on Impact Monday. Falco again. 202 tonight.
An incredible performance from Falco.
54.5 for Sammy Steele. For the winner and to stay in the #1 seed. Sammy Steele for the win. Kick is up. It is good. It hit the crossbar. It bounced in. Atlanta's won the game. It hit the crossbar on its way down, and Atlanta wins. Oh, it hit the bar. Oh, it hit the post. It hit the left post and bounced in. Game over.
Oh my goodness, sensational! We have to stay to see if we get a replay on this. Off the left, upright, and in! That is the most wild way to win a game. He stoiked it.
I am speechless right now, Cam. When we saw him miss one on the other side of the field with the wind not in his favor, the wind on his favor that time, and hitting the crossbar on the left side to bounce in and win the ball game for your team. That is just an incredible finish to an absolutely incredible game.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember. I've been here for 10 years, Paul. I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen a game-winning field goal stoink off of an upright and in. For a game of this magnitude, that was unbelievable stones from Sammy Steele.
Yeah, and just your opposing kicker, top keeper, going 6 for 6 on the game, and to be able to have the guts with 3 seconds on the clock to kick the ball after you missed one earlier in the game just shows the confidence that Atlanta has in their kicker, Sammy Steele.
Oh my, for Indianapolis, a crucial loss. The drama for the wild card gets even more dramatic. Teams like Carolina, Houston, and Alamo City who pulled out clutch wins, all cheering for the Rambler loss. And teams like Florida, for that matter, Paul, who are desperate for 6-6 chaos, also cheering for the loss. And Atlanta will stay number 1. 2 weeks to go.
It's just, I'm still trying to process this game that just happened. Indianapolis, what an absolute heartbreaking finish for them. After being down 21-3 and to fight back and take the lead just to lose on a last-second field goal, just wow, what a game.
Falco officially 191. Before we send it to Curtis and Tyler, we want to take a look at that field goal again. We did not get it on the recap. Jack Brown, Damon, Simeon, great call, or a great job on the stats. Paul Sarb, excellent call. We don't normally do this, but I mean, we just have to. That was a stunner that sent the fans home unhappy. A 55-yard field goal, officially on the road, and
wow,
doinked it in. Doinked it in. Off the upright.
Doesn't get any closer than that. Wow.
It does not. To Tyler and Curtis for postgame.
Man, oh man. Stunning stoink from Steele stops a stunning comeback attempt from Indy. As Curtis and Tyler with you, the alliteration is real. The field goal was real, and it sends the playoffs into absolute anarchy. Tyler, give me your initial reaction as that last drive developed for Atlanta, trying to put this one to bed.
Right as Indy we're marching down the field. I was telling you, Curtis, and telling everybody in the broadcast booth here, Indy, please don't give Atlanta back the ball because that's exactly what they can do. Woo! Ah! By Teach Falco, back-to-back plays. There's a call without a voice crack.
There you go.
My goodness. And then Steele steals it on a stoic and stupendous end to this football game. Has got me pumped, has hopefully got all of you pumped. Oh, what a way to end it, week 12. And Atlanta becomes an agent of chaos.
Yeah, no kidding. They and Indy was almost an agent of chaos the other way, but Atlanta rights the ship and is able to get things done. Now, just kind of initial reaction. We with the SFL moving into SFL 2K23 next season. looking back at the 20 seasons of SFL action up to this point, and the most of them being on APF, can you think, since you've been in the league, of a better ending to a game in this era of the SFL?
Oh, I mean, we can just go right back to the championship game of last season and how crazy that ending was. We can go and take a look at the season 9 championship game and how that ended.
Mexico City, Chicago, yep.
We can take a look at so many different games in just little games. I remember calling Queen City Fort Worth and Queen City walking it off, I think 2 seasons ago. So many great memories, short-term, long-term. The games in which made this league what it is, the tributes we've had for fallen friends, for fallen colleagues, for Matt, for Rich, for Leonard, we've had so many memories. And while we will make more memories in season 21 and beyond, the memories here will live forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just going back, you think of the similarities to Arizona, Florida in the quarterfinals last season. I would have the absolute pleasure of calling that game with your buddy and my buddy Brett Killian, and that was one of my favorite memories in the SFL so far. This is up there. I'd say this probably goes top 10. But let's get back to the relevance of this, because this just created some dominoes amongst the entirety of the playoff rankings here. Atlanta stays at the top. That's the most important note here. And at least for a week, they are top dogs in the playoff standings. They're the 1 seed. Baltimore's up there as well. Arizona's up there as well. You have the top four are basically still in play. That said, that result helps out Carolina. That result helps out basically everybody, you'd think, from 6 through 12 as far as SOV. No.
Absolutely. You got to think about teams like DC as well, who sit at 5 and 5 as well, and just being able to maybe have a sniff. Portland, even after the loss, now could they come out with the unthinkable? Could they maybe take down Sioux Falls and then Vancouver, and could maybe they clinch the champion, that Pacific Division? It's so crazy right now. These last 2 weeks of football, I was looking at all these potential matchups for Week 14 and what they all could mean. If certain factors come out the way we had madness. We had madness last season in the playoff, positioning and ranking to close out that season with Tulsa being knocked out at 7-5. This has gotten a whole nother flavor to it, and I'm just gonna grab a popcorn. And just like the rest of you, I'm going to watch what happens, because we are in for a great time.
I feel bad for the playoff scenario show and everyone working that. Oh, hi, Cam. How you doing? Hi. But yeah, no, that's going to be a lot of fun. And Week 12 has set the stage fabulously for Week 13 and 14 as we get into the final games of this regular season. And there's a lot more football to go, guys. If you guys are not excited, check your pulse. This has been a very good race to the finish in the SFL regular season in season 20, as the APF era of the SFL wants to seemingly go out with a bang, and we are here for all of it. That said, for Tyler Falk, for Cameron Irvine, for everybody in the Sat Truck, on another Impact Monday, Week 13, just around the corner. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in just a few days' time. Stay safe.